And in a playoff series, that deficiency defensively for that second line would have to be dealt with.
It would be. And like, think about last year. How many times did you and I come on here and talk about, well, they got to test all these different things out. They got all these different looks. They got all these new players. So you're constantly looking to see what works, what doesn't work. So you'll do that maybe to a lesser extent this year based on how many moves you make. But that's one of them. And, like, where I stand on it, I don't see Domi being your second-line center in the playoffs. Like, I just think there's hard matchups that you need to eat there. But if he can show that he can be defensively responsible a little bit more and then find the offense that he's shown recently, and he's played quite well, so we do have to give him a lot of credit there. But in a perfect world, Tavares, $11 million, needs to show that he can carry the mail at 5-on-5. Jim, some would even say it's a non-negotiable.
Yeah, it's a different look, but not an odd look.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
I think that's a great way of putting it.
With no odor at all.
No. Well, on the third line, there's a little odor to it. Like, I think last game against Vegas, when you watch Tavares, like, you could see the frustration in his game, and there were some plays that even he said, like, he would like to have them back. I think of the one backhand play along the boards where he coughs it up and it goes for a goal. Like, you know, those are the kinds of things where it's an odd look, and it just looks like for Tavares, he's like a half a step too late on a lot of things. And Domi isn't right now because Domi can skate. So that's what's helping Domi have a little more success in that second line role than Tavares is having.
This is Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Immortalized by Tom Petty.
And there goes the last DJ.
LA DJ Jim Ladd became a legend, captivating listeners for over 50 years with thematic sets of classic album rock. Join the journey as we remember Jim with an entire weekend of his shows. A Salute to Jim Ladd starts tomorrow in the Deep Tracks Channel 308 on most radios, the all-new SiriusXM app, and this weekend on SiriusXM Channel 107.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Ashton won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on SiriusXM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, rebound, Caulfield, shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena. Jim Taddy and Frankie C with you, and All the players have just left the ice, so pregame resurfacing, and away we go at 7 o'clock. Is the puck drop. Joe Bowen and Jimmy Rouse standing by. So the big story for the Leafs is Joseph Woll gets the start tonight. Here's Coach Keefe on maintaining confidence in his young goaltender.
You just know how hard the guys work to get himself ready, and especially probably the last 3 weeks or so, like where he's right there. There's just one last little hurdle for him to get over. So you want to get him back, and he's an important guy for our team, and you want to get him back in the net.
How big is it that he doesn't have to come in as like the savior? You've had such good goaltending since he got hurt.
Yeah, I do think that's important, especially for a young guy. Like Waller, he's just got to focus on himself and his own game, and even not just tonight, but the lead up to tonight. And sort of getting over that last little bit. So the team was going really well. The goaltenders have done a good job for us. So he's really just been able to keep it about him and making sure he's ready, and then even to the point that he goes down and gets his time in with the Marlies, and that sort of helped check that last box that he could get through the game and get to the positions that he needs to. And then, we got him a couple extra skates back up here to make sure that everything checks out, and here we are.
Sean, he's been ramping up for 3 weeks, but the mental side of it, in your experience with players in general, how is that the last step of just trusting that everything's going to be fine? You don't know until you're in the fight. Yeah,
I do think that is important, especially for the nature of every injury is different, but there's some that that are a thing. Like it sits there in your mind, especially for his position, and he got injured, with a certain movement that he has to repeat countless times in a game, and I think that was probably the biggest hurdle for him to get over, just because that in itself is what puts the most stress on the injury, and then the mental side of making sure that you're good enough to get through that at game speed. So that's been it for him, but I think he's excited to go. We're excited to have him back.
Big test tonight, no question about that. And if it does work out, all of a sudden they have an embarrassment of riches with 3 NHL goaltenders.
And it will be interesting to see how they handle that, because right now, you take a look around the league, there's a few teams that are rolling with 3 goalies. Pittsburgh's doing it. Montreal has done it all season long. And it seems like if you want to put a pretty good goaltender on the market at a cheap cap hit, is my caveat there.
Yeah.
There's a chance he's going to get claimed. Cal Peterson just went on yesterday. He cleared today. The problem with him, I think he makes $4 million. Oh. So no one's picking up that cap hit. But if you take a look at, okay, you're probably not going to put Samsonov down again because he's played quite well for you. Why would you? Martin Jones, though, if you put him on waivers, trade deadline time, teams are looking for an organizational 2. Maybe they have someone who's banged up. Maybe they have someone they're not happy with. The LA Kings have David Riddick in net right now. Maybe Marty Jones is an upgrade on that. So I can see the Leafs rolling with 3 goaltenders for the foreseeable future.
I don't think there's any option here. I think that's what they do, because even if they did try to move Jones out, they'd still need, who are they going to call up to in case of an emergency?
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
They absolutely need to have 3 guys that you can go to.
Yeah.
And it's funny now because, you think about a 3 goaltender rotation, the deployment is going to be odd, right? Because you're going to have one guy that you think probably plays 2 games in a row. Then you're going to get another guy in at some point on a back-to-back. When does the third guy play? Because you probably want to get back to your guy that's your so-called number 1. So that's why, coming off the high ankle sprain, it's probably not the worst thing for Toronto to have 3.
Yeah.
Because maybe Wall plays tonight and he plays well. That's great. Maybe you soften the load for him coming back in, where you say, okay, I'm going to get Samsonov in next. Maybe I will give Martin Jones a start and let Wall kind of regroup after a game like tonight. Like Sheldon just talked about it. It is a finicky injury with that high ankle sprain. So it's all about the playoffs. It's all about being ready for the playoffs and healthy for the playoffs. Last year, goaltending was not exactly healthy for the Leafs in the playoffs. So maybe this year you can deploy it a little different so that you have a guy at 100%.
Yeah, you just have to have your insurance policies in place because who knows how deep the run is in the playoffs and what could happen. You have to have sort of these things covered off just in case, because you don't want a good playoff run altered by a misstep.
Well, and you know what? Even if you have goaltending you really like, last year the Boston Bruins had Linus Ullmark. He won the Vezina. all season long, they had been going with, a little Ullmark, a little Swayman. It wasn't exactly Ullmark's net. But they got into a situation in the playoffs where they gave the net to Ullmark. He was hurt. He was banged up. They didn't take him out of that net. Ultimately, that's part of the reason they lost that series. So it is up to the coaching staff and the goaltending staff here to recognize if someone's, A, not playing well, B, is a little bit banged up, know when to pull the trigger. Like, don't get too married to, well, this is our guy and he has to be our guy, when you have viable options who are healthier. Because a healthy goalie is probably going to give you a little more than a guy who's banged up.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it as the three of them all have some sort of a question mark over their head.
Yeah.
And not to say that it could be revisited, but if the question marks go away from all three, you're laughing.
Okay, so let's go through that. I think that's a good point that you make. The question marks. What are the question marks? I think for Joseph Woll, it's got to be he's young and inexperienced, and he's coming off the high ankle sprain. Those are two.
Yeah.
I think for Samsonov, it's is he going to start looking like the guy that we saw earlier in the season? And what goes on between the ears? Like, those are the two for Samsonov. I think for Martin Jones, we kind of just know what he is. Like, there's no underneath the surface on Martin Jones. There's a certain floor that he can get to, and if he gets to there, he'll give you average goaltending. The problem is it may not get there. So that's your option number 3. But at this point in the season, like, if the other two guys are banged up, or if those question marks, really start to appear, you need that organizational 3, because you need to know in a pinch you could throw a guy in there and he can give you a chance to win a game.
I think a lot of the concern was with the 3 was could you fit him in under the cap, but clearly with Woll playing tonight they can.
Yeah, exactly. You'll fit him in under the cap, and then you get to the playoffs and hey, like, all bets are off because you don't have a cap to abide by at that point.
Yeah, so I mean it's nice because you don't have to suddenly go out and search for another goaltender, so that's off the market.
No, the Leafs in no way, shape, or form should be out there searching for a different goaltender. This is who they got, and they're going to have to maximize who they got. They got to add a defenseman. There's no doubt about that. They have the capability to do it. It will be interesting to see, like, what kind of defenseman they go for. Do they go for a bigger guy? Do they go for a guy that's a little more slender, but maybe he's a puck-moving guy? Like, is it a depth guy? I mean,
what is it?
I've been very adamant. It needs to be someone who can play with Morgan Rielly. It needs to be a right-handed shot who can play with Morgan Rielly.
Okay.
That's my priority.
And I agree with you, but what happens to Brody?
Brody needs to play on the left with Timothy Liljegren when he comes back into the lineup. So okay. I get. So what happens then? Is it Jake McCabe and Simone Benoit
for 5-6?
Sure, and then that maybe moves Giordano out of the lineup. But I will say that you can still put Giordano in the lineup. Like, you don't have to be married to Benoit has to be in the lineup every single night, because I think when Gio's feeling good, feeling fresh, he gives you more than Benoit can give you. As much as Benoit has played great, like, that's the give and take there. So if you can manage Giordano's ice time to the point where every time he comes in, he feels like he can move his feet, he's fresh, the game's not moving too fast for him, that's a great thing, because last year when they ran him hard down the stretch and we got into that Florida series, you could really see the miles catching up to him. But similar to the goaltending deployment, that's something that the coaching staff will need to manage to make sure that they're maximizing what he can give you.
So is it just a defenseman? You need something up front, don't you?
It is a defenseman for sure.
Yeah.
It just depends how many assets you're willing to part with.
Right.
I would, like, Jimmy, let's call a spade a spade. If you could bring in a centerman at this point who's of impact, of course you're going to make that move. Like, you don't think Adam Henrique would help right now?
Sure,
but
he would.
He makes $5.85 million, so that's, you have some hurdles there. And then what are you giving up to get Adam Henrique? Because I can guarantee you Anaheim's not letting him go for cheap, especially after Elias Lindholm got a big haul, Sean Monahan got a first-round pick. You got to think that Adam Henrique and the Ducks specifically, are looking for that kind of package going back. That asset for the Leafs, that's getting spent on a defenseman before it's getting spent on a centerman.
Yeah. So if they had to go with the forward unit the way it is now, I'm just a little worried about down the middle in a matchup.
Well, you have to remember that at some point Calle Jarnkrok is coming back into the lineup.
Right.
That, like, it seems like
that's a big loss.
It's a big loss, and that is part of the picture here where the Leafs have played well defensively, or they did for 7 games when they won all those games in a row, without Jarnkrok, without Rielly for 5 of them. So, yeah, it is important that they get him back. he's going to change the complexion of the team internally when he does come back. And so now your search for a forward almost gets narrowed down a little bit more because you're going to have an internal ad coming back from injury.
Well, and whenever that is, I mean, then you have too many forwards, and so maybe you move somebody.
Well, you're going to have too many forwards. Like Pontus Holmberg is a guy who's lower in the lineup, although like he's played well. This is the thing right now. You can't win 7 games in a row. You can't be 8-2 in your last 10 if you don't get good performances and meaningful contributions from guys lower in the lineup, and that's been the case. And maybe you get a little more out of Tyler Bertuzzi. That's been
seems to have turned the corner.
That's been a revelation, right?
Yeah.
And buddy, we always talk about this. Anytime you can get an improvement internally, doesn't it solve way more problems for your team? Because now you're not having to think about how many assets is this going to cost me? What's the cap hit? Like, how do we fit this into the lineup? If you can get those improvements from players that are already here, a.k.a. another one, Nick Robertson, that's going to solve your problems.
So we've got about 90 seconds. If you put in that pile, Bertuzzi, McMahon, Kemp, Reeves, Holmberg, I mean, they all added, and Max Domi, they all added offense in that 7-game winning streak.
And Bobby McMahon was probably the best story out of all of them. And listen, we've watched him from game 1 here, and it never looked like it was out of his wheelhouse, and now it's really starting to look like he's gaining some confidence here. I like his game. I like the fact that he's not afraid to lean on guys, and now he's finding ways to get his shot off a little bit more. He was a prolific scorer at the AHL level, and to get that guy up and running here offensively is going to be massive for the Leafs, especially in the playoffs where you know the way it is. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, they're going to get a lot of the attention from other teams. Maybe you can get this guy, he can sneak in a few goals along the way.
What I like about him is he still plays the same way, but he's now getting goals.
Yeah, and that's a good way of putting it, and he needs to be consistent with that every game that he plays.
We'll set up the opening face-off for you next. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
At Trillium Health Partners, we're ready to see you, not just as a patient, but as a person who needs innovative care with a human touch, a person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you, our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I'm going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
There's lots of reasons to get breakfast delivered with Skip. Like you accidentally set your alarm in your calculator app. You stayed up too late watching one more episode. Your blueberry muffin is smushed at the bottom of your backpack.
Muffin.
Your kid only wants to wear their bathing suit to preschool. Ta-da! Your roommate ate everything remotely related to breakfast.
What?
And who puts back an empty milk carton anyway? Kyle! And that's why Skip delivers breakfast. You're welcome.
It's somebody's day. Skip.
Well, let's make sense of this. The Coyotes are here tonight. They haven't lost a game in this building since October of 2002. And yet the Coyotes haven't won a game this month anywhere. Oddly enough, it's a leap year, so they get another chance. The real question is, can the Leafs bounce back and return to the win column? Well, let's find out. Molson Canadian Leafs hockey starts now.
It's time for Molson Canadian Leafs hockey.
on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Oh, yes, they do. Welcome to Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey live from Scotiabank Arena. Jim Taddy, Frank Corrado reporting. Joe Bowen and Jimmy Rouse standing by. The starting lineup is brought to you by Molson. Whether it's Canadian, Ultra, Export, or Excel, there's a Molson with your name on it. And here is the lineup the Leafs will present tonight. Matthews centering Marner and Nyes. Domi centering Nylander and Bertuzzi. Tavares centering Robertson and McMahon. Camp centering Reeves and Holmberg on the blue line. The pairings are Riley Brody, Benoit McCabe, Gio and Lagesson, and the goaltender, ladies and gentlemen, is Joseph Woll. Frankie C., what do you make of that?
Well, let's not bury the lead. Joseph Woll is back in the lineup after missing a substantial amount of the season with a high ankle sprain, and it's going to be important for him to, A, feel comfortable in the net, but get back to his game. He was really good before he got injured. The game he got hurt may have been one of his best games of the season in Ottawa, so now he gets a little bit of runway here before the trade deadline to feel comfortable in the net, find his game. As far as up front, John Tavares, third-line center. We saw it against Vegas. He looked frustrated. He looked slow. It looked like something was bothering him. He needs to continue to keep pushing here, maybe find half a step, because as of right now, Max Domi is your second-line center. The lineup was not designed to be utilized this way. Domi has had a good little stretch of hockey here. Offensively, that line is really good. Sometimes you could worry, though, in a playoff series, a line with Bertuzzi, Domi, and Nylander, how is that going to look defensively? Jimmy, another thing.
Yes.
No right-handed shots in the lineup tonight on the back end. All 6 defensemen left-handed, and we get TJ Brody reunited with Morgan Rielly, and guess who's playing the right side?
Yeah.
TJ Brody.
Yeah.
He has struggled on the right side recently. It's been easier for him to play the left side. It feels like the game has come to him a little bit more on the left-hand side. He'll have to find his game on the right side. But here's the message for the Leafs in this game. Do not let your defensive details slip, because Arizona, as much as they're not a great team, winless in their last 13, don't give them any reason, any excuse to get into this game. Don't even open the door for them a little bit. It has to be a suffocating effort, and that's not asking too much. That's well within this team's wheelhouse.
Is there a proper way to end a losing streak, and was it Tuesday night against Vegas?
I don't think there's a proper way to end a losing streak, no. But that game against Vegas did not resemble the hockey that the Leafs were playing in the 7 games prior. So good opportunity for them against an opponent in Arizona who's struggling, who's going to be desperate, so you're still going to have to be attentive to the game that they're going to try and play here, but it's home ice. Get to your game plan early, and don't give them a reason to get back into the game. And trust me, Jimmy, if you do that, there will be plenty of chances for you offensively. Take care of your own house first, and this is one of those games that as the game goes on, you'll see the big breakdowns for Arizona.
So what has Arizona been up to lately? The answer, not much. 0-11-2. Their last win was January 22nd, 5-2 over Pittsburgh. Does that streak end tonight? We'll find out. Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Whatever the weather, CMC.
It's fantasy baseball season, and Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you draft a winning team.
Gone for Ronald Acuna.
Labor, the League of Alternative Baseball Realities auction-style drafts. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern, the top experts in the fantasy industry are drafting against each other.
I'm curious where you come in on Ellie De La Cruz.
Upside is top 5. Jim Bowden, Jeff Erickson, and Ray Flowers bring you pick-by-pick analysis, player projections, and more. Labor, Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
We have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Arizona Coyotes colliding for the final time this season as the Maple Leafs try to end a long drought against this team from the desert here at Scotiabank Arena. Joseph Woll gets the call in goal back from that ankle injury. He is 8-5-1, 2.80 and a 9.16 goals against average against Connor Ingram, who has not played against the Maple Leafs as it rolls to his crease, and that's played out at center ice. Leafs to the right and the Coyotes to the left as it's played in over the line, and Matthews goes into the corner against Moser. The puck comes back to the point, kept in by Brody. Shot deflects wide into the far corner. Nyes is in there after it. Around back of the net, looking to try and tip it to Marner. That didn't work. Marner against the boards loses it, and Nick Schmaltz will carry to center and play it high to center ice. Knocked down by a high stick, and play is stopped with a face-off coming in neutral ice.
Well, we want to go back to the last time the Leafs defeated the Arizona Coyotes.
I can't remember
regulation.
when that was.
Well, I think they were still the Phoenix Coyotes. There's one little hint. But you've got to go back to a 5-3 Leaf win October 17th, 2002.
Wow.
The last regulation win. Arizona in this building are 11-0-2.
Nylander driving the net was taken down. The puck comes back to the blue line, just kept in there at the line. Long shot deflected wide of the net in front of the goal, and it was lifted just wide of the net by Bertuzzi. Puck along the boards, and Nylander trying to keep it in, but it's going to poke its way to center. And now a turnover, and the Maple Leafs sent it right back in again, but Bertuzzi couldn't reach it. Kept alive by Nylander. Cutting for the net, drop pass now for Domi. Domi looking in front, goes back of the net. Nylander with it there. Sends it back for Domi in the near corner. Domi with a shot that was blocked. Battles for it along the boards. Lost that battle. It's iced now by the Coyotes, and a whistle here to stop play.
All right, can I give you the details of that game?
I really don't want to hear it.
All right.
Okay.
Nevertheless. It was a 5-3 Leaf win.
Great.
Over Arizona. The winning goaltender for the Leafs, Trevor Kidd.
He played for the Leafs?
Yeah.
That long ago.
Ryan Boucher was in goal for the Arizona Coyotes.
Wow.
Shane Corson had 2.
What do you... Shot here. Joe goes just wide of the Coyote goal. What in your expert opinion, why is this such a strange circumstance, Mr. Ralph? Can you give me something that...
reason for it?
Yes.
Well, I'm still working on why the Leafs hadn't beaten St. Louis here in regulation in 20 years until this year.
All right, here the Coyotes in with a pass and it slid wide off the left wing boards and out comes Tavares to center. Tried to flip it in there for Robertson. That didn't work. Coyotes will get it down to the Leaf blue line. Quickly played right back out again. And Cooley now on the left wing and sending it into the corner for Gunther. Dylan Gunther in along the boards. It comes back to the blue line. Fed over on the near side. Dumba trying to get a shot away. Had to go wide of the net. Puck along the boards and into the corner is cut off. Referee got in the way there of a Brody attempt. It comes back to the point. Dumba walking the line. Dishing it off on the near side for Cooley. Cooley was taken down. The puck turned over. But Brody thought better of racing after it as the Leafs are getting a change in. In come the Coyotes. O'Brien playing it around to the far point. Bank to the side of the net. It goes back of the goal. Morgan Riley back playing on the right side or on the left side, and defenseman Brody playing on the left side, the right side. I'll get this right. Wait a minute.
Over there.
Yeah, over here. Could you read that? I've written it down on the top of my wrist. Is that right or left?
It's, whatever it is, you spelled it wrong.
I feel like my mother with the idiot mittens.
I remember those.
Remember those?
We had 3 idiots.
Had the string go up through your arm so you wouldn't lose your mittens. Brought in over the line offside. Mercifully offside. And a face-off coming out and neutralized.
Well,
what a great start to this game.
In other words, they're going back to the way they played most of their time together, Riley and Brody.
Thank you. Why didn't I say that?
Well, Joe, I was too busy trying to figure out why they haven't beaten Arizona in regulation in 23 years. But it is an amazing stat. I mean, obviously against a Western Conference team, and we said the same thing when St. Louis came in. And there's really no explanation for it, is there?
No. Played around into the Toronto zone. Knifed out at center ice for Matthews. He'll roll it into Coyote territory. Up against the boards comes Nyes to help out. So does Benoit. Off a skate. Karam to the near boards. Nyes in there again. Back of the net for Matthews. Great play. He stood up his man Kesselring to maintain position and possession. Pass now with Marner. Working to the near side. Pulls back. Into the far side. A one-timer from Matthews went just wide. He was set up over there again by Marner. Marner with it again. Trying to get a shot to the net, but it was blocked. And it is played out at center ice. And now here's a 2-on-1 break now for the Coyotes with a pass into the slot. And it's fed just wide of the net. Leafs out at center.
When it's Marner had the shot blocked and then got caught flat-footed at center. And the Coyotes blew past him and had the odd man rush, but without getting a shot on goal.
Played high and into the crowd, and we are 4 minutes and 48 seconds into the game without a shot on goal.
Well, and for Joseph Wall, I mean, this is going to look like an easy start on paper, right? And Arizona comes in.
Until you show up and tell them that they haven't won in 12 games here.
Wow. They're not the only non-playoff team that has caused problems for the Leafs.
Good point.
In fact, Joseph Wall's last game on December 7th was the only time the Leafs have beaten the Ottawa Senators this year. And he was spectacular before leaving the game with an injury halfway through the third period.
A big round of applause for a young lady, 80 years of age, beat cancer, and is at her first Leaf game. And that is what that round of applause was going on as play continues. Played around back of the net. I'm sure they'll get that young lady on the screen for a more lengthy salute. Puck back down in the Toronto zone, fed ahead. Bertuzzi had it skip away. Shot goes wide of the net. Oh, and Wall had to get over there quickly as Cooley was stationed off to the side of the net. Now another pass in front with a shot. Big save by Wall, and it's cleared into the corner, and the Leafs have it once more. Yours truly and the gentleman doing color commentary here on the radio are in agreement that we are both Joseph Wall fans. Drop pass at the blue line. Kept in by Dumba. Dumba down into the corner. Taken to the boards by Morgan Riley. Tavares trying to dig the puck free and has. And it's pushed out at center. And here's Benoit skating through center. Got it ahead for Robertson. Robertson got it back to the point. Benoit to the near side. McCabe! And that was deflected by McMahon just wide of the goal. Arizona getting it up, and still not a shot on goal, although did not Wall make at least two?
I know Wall got a piece of the one. We had to go post to post.
Played in over the line now by the Coyotes. Stolen back there by Toronto. Nicely done by Nylander. Flipped in on the left wing side. Trying to drive the net was Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg is going to cycle it back along for Camp. Camp is over. Run up the puck. Gets it back again against the boards. Reeves trying to help out. Given a jolt there by Jack McBain. The puck back at the net. Holmberg trying to dig it free. Reeves as well. Reeves takes his man to the boards. The puck is poked out at center and down the ice. Icing waved off. 12:41, and according to the game sheet anyway, there has not been a shot on goal. Maybe the boys in charge of that have taken the night off. Flipped into the left wing corner. Matthews after the puck, chipping it back for Morgan Riley. Riley pinches, backing up the pinch. A centering pass for Marner goes to Matthews, and his shot was partially blocked and went harmlessly wide. Cleared out and down the ice by the Coyotes, but Riley was in position to play it. Got it ahead. Nyes gets it in deep again. Ingram out of the net to play it back into the corner. Stolen by Matthews. And as he tried to center it in front, it was going wide, so I don't even know if this is a shot on goal. Yay! Yes, it is. And now go to commercial break. No score. Leafs and Coyotes. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Radio Andy.
Hey, this is Jeff Lewis, host of Jeff Lewis Live on Radio Andy. I'm here to tell you about the brand new Sirius XM app. Check out my new personal page on the fully redesigned app to see all the places you can hear and see me. Plus, you'll find all my latest episodes, archived episodes, and more. Just search Jeff Lewis in the app to find me, then keep exploring to add all your Sirius XM favorites and new discoveries to your library.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Face-off coming in the circle to the right of Connor Ingram.
By the way, Connor Ingram, playing on a team that is 28th overall in the NHL, has some pretty impressive stats. He's above 500, 17, 14, and 3. With a goals against average of 2.81 and a .910 save percentage. That's pretty impressive for a team in the bottom 5 of the NHL, isn't it?
Especially when they have gone 13 games without a win. Here are the Coyotes in across the line. A pass back on the near side, and the shot was blocked by Riley. Back to the blue line. Flipped down in along the boards. Corralled again by the Coyotes. They play it off on the left wing, trying to drive the net with a pass, and the shot taken by Kesselring was deflected wide. Back to the far side, Dursey in along the boards. Both teams trying to get a change going. Nylander unable to get to it. Played into the corner on the far side by Hayton. Hayton works back towards the blue line, still with it. Saucers it off now for Dursey. Pass in front, and the whistling shot went wide of the Leaf goal. Puck comes back and out into the center ice area. No, it's kept in, actually. Schmaltz was able to trap it there. Played into the far corner. Round back of the net, finally gobbled up. And it'll be Bertuzzi sending a long alley-oop to center that Nylander couldn't track down. Here the Coyotes sending it right back in again. Chipped along the boards and grabbed off by the Maple Leafs. Played out at center, just out of the reach of Marner. And it is shot right back down into the Toronto end. Wall scooping it around back of the net. Puck comes high off a stick to center. No one able to get to it until the Coyotes regroup it and deflect it down into the Toronto zone. Benoit around the boards for McCabe. McCabe trying to chip it out. The puck comes back into the slot. A shot. That was stopped by Wall. Zucker loses it. Tavares playing it off the boards, but the Leafs don't get it out again. And they're just being outworked right here. Matthews to Marner. Marner to center, but too far for Tavares. Gunther brings it back. Pass on the near boards for Logan Cooley. Got it in over the line. Stolen back by Marner. Backhand pass. Spins ahead now for Camp. David Camp over the line, but couldn't handle the puck. Comes back into neutral ice. Off of Camp's skate. No one able to take advantage. Cleared back out at center and brought in on the right side. Machelli in on goal with a pass, and that was just out of the reach, and they're going end to end now with speed. Down the right wing side. Backhand by Holmberg in front. Big pad save made there. The wraparound in front of the goal. Injured Leaf in the corner.
Mark Giordano, who went for a spill after taking the shot. That I think Connor Ingram made a great stop on it, but Giordano got tangled up with the defender and tumbled into the corner to the right of the Arizona goaltender. And Giordano now up on both knees, but the training staff is out tending to him.
He's taken the helmet off. And whether he had the wind knocked out of him or whatever, but he is being attended to down in the corner down to our left.
Boy, Giordano got beat for an odd man rush one way and then was right back in the rush the other way. And the best scoring opportunity for either team here in the opening period, but it looks like it's a leg injury, doesn't it? He is very gingerly. Oh, well, whatever it is, I don't think that it's good news for Mark Giordano or the Leafs for the rest of this game.
So a break in the action with the Leafs and the Coyotes scoreless. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Today, when it comes to following sports, a basic box score just won't cut it. Get the stats behind the stats with NHL Edge. So you won't just see Makar's time on ice. You'll see where he spent it. You won't just know Matthews scored. You'll know how hard he shot it. And you won't just get OV's shot total. You'll know where he shot it from, even if they're all from the same place. Know more about every stat, every shift, and every star with NHL Edge.
You've heard that sound before. A basketball going off the backboard and in. A bank shot. Well, that's actually the sound of a fan winning a Raptors jersey. That's the sound of a fan getting a signed Raptors basketball. And that's a fan scoring tickets to the NBA Finals. With the Tangerine Bank Shot contest, every bank shot the Raptors score this season wins a fan a prize. Enter for a chance to win at tangerine.ca/bankshot. Tangerine, that's forward banking.
Did you fix that leaky tap?
Uh-huh.
How about that loose doorknob?
Uh-huh.
Right now, we can get a free medium pizza from 2 for $1 Pizza.
Did somebody say free pizza?
See, it's not just the kids that have selective hearing.
Right now, get a free medium one-topping pizza with a minimum $25 purchase before tax and delivery. Limited time offer. Online orders only. Visit 2for1pizza.com and use coupon code FREEM.
2 for 1 pizza. 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
The Leafs nothing and the Coyotes nothing. As the Leafs, Mark Giordano has headed to the dressing room.
By the way, some good news, though. I heard it on New York that after the $25,000 fine to Sheldon Keefe, they're building a Maple Leaf wing at the Department of Safety.
Really?
Yeah.
Centering pass, and Ingram got across to make the save. Will there be statues like Legends Row?
Pictures of Pierre Engvall, Alex Kerfoot, Austin Matthews, Jason Spezza.
Yeah. Really? Wow, that's impressive.
Smart-ass part aside, it is incredible that the Leafs have been suspended the most in the last, 6-7 years?
When you think about how tough and what a goony team this is.
Well, the irony is people talking about how soft the Leafs have been, especially in the playoffs, and yet they are. If they were a movie, they'd be the Suspendables, wouldn't they?
Oh, I like that. No, that was good. You spent some time on that today.
Actually, I didn't. I just
shot into the Coyote zone, kept alive by the Leafs and fed to an open wing. Near side, back of the net, Domi took an elbow and is down, and neither official has an arm up. And Max Domi is slow to get up. Back to the point. Benoit with a pass to the side of the goal. Domi was there. Domi gets it off on the boards, but it's going to be out at center ice. Well, we might as well. Morgan McPhee and Kendrick Nicholson are the referees. And then we got some pushing and jawing and stick work going on at the benches.
I think it was Krause and Tyler Bertuzzi as both players were heading back to their respective benches.
But I don't know why the whistle went. They're going to face it off at center.
Boy, Max Domi tending to his nose over. Boy, this was like a punch to the head, wasn't it?
Yep, Matt Dumba delivered a right cross right to the chin of Max Domi. Played into the Coyote zone. Down the boards it goes. It comes to the point, kept in by the Maple Leafs. A whistling shot went wide of the net there from McMahon. Against the wall, unable to keep it in then was Robertson. The Leafs are going to shoot it right back in again. McMahon up against the boards, can't block it. And it's brought by Nick Schmaltz to center. Left wing feed and played in over the line by Alex Kerfoot. Kerfoot given a welcome back video tribute during the commercial break. Dursey works to center, and he's going to shoot it into the Toronto zone. No score. Leafs have 4 shots, and the Coyotes have 1. Bouncing puck to the side of the near wall. Pass intercepted. Wasting away now is Marner. He's got a partial breakaway. He's in a goal. Drops it back. They score! Holy mackerel, what a beautiful play from Mitchell Marner, who reaches the 50 assist point for the 5th time in his career, and it is Nyes the beneficiary.
A giveaway by the Coyotes right inside the Leaf blue line. And Joe, I believe it's Logan Cooley that looked up And from here, it looked like he saw the situation, which was there was no lane to go from the right point to the left point. He tries to force it, but put it right onto the stick of Mitch Marner. And Marner looks like he's going to deke on a breakaway until he feels a little tug from behind, and he drops it back to Matthew Nyes, who simply slams it into the empty net to put the Leafs up 1-0.
So Marner getting the assist. And his 50th of the year, his 73rd point. 5 times he has reached the 50 assist mark in his career in Toronto. And what a beautiful play.
Well, and for Matthew Nyes, that is his 3rd goal and 8th point in his last 11 games. You know, we talk about everybody you like to see going, which includes the likes of Bobby McMahon and David Kampf scoring in Vegas.
Bertuzzi.
Matthew Nyes is one as well that you'd love to see him catch fire a little bit.
Here the pass across to the far side. Trapped by Krause, sent into the corner. Krause looking for a return pass, but it comes to the near side to Stecker, and a long shot is swallowed up there by goaltender Joseph Wall, and he's going to hold on for a face-off in the Toronto zone.
And that is officially just the second shot on goal of the Arizona Coyotes, 6-2, favoring the Leafs. Leafs' best chance was the play that Mark Giordano got hurt on before Matthew Nyes put it in the back of the net. And if you're Joseph Wall, you're probably thinking, just give me something to feel the puck, something from long range.
High ankle sprain suffered in the game against Ottawa, which was his finest game to that point.
Oh, man.
Wasn't it?
And I mean, he had some impressive starts in Washington, in Dallas before that. But yeah, December 7th. He made about, 3 or 4 post-to-post saves.
Here's a pass on the right wing side, a shot, and Wall got over there to make the save, and the Leafs are breaking it back at center. David Kampf launches it in to the zone around back of the net. Reeves, along with Holmberg, stopping it. It comes back to the point, near side for Kampf. Now a centering pass in front for Reeves, and he chipped it just wide. Back to the point to Brody, a shot off the side of the goal. Reeves to the rebound. Back of the net for Kampf. Nicely fed along the boards. Kampf still with it in his skates. Trying to dig it free, but can't. And it is played ahead now, and the Coyotes will get it out at center and clear it down into the Leaf end. But the icing going to be called here against Arizona.
Well, for the Coyotes, who have lost or missed the playoffs 3 consecutive seasons and 10 of their last 11. Come in here in a 13-game losing streak, 0-11-2. Those 13 games, they've been outscored 60-31 during that stretch. And a pretty good test for the Leafs, isn't it? You have the 7-game winning streak snapped Tuesday against Vegas.
Bouncing puck down into the Leaf zone. Here is Kerfoot trying to play it in front of the net, and Wall got across. Puck comes back to the point. Fed into the near boards, trying to control it. There's Dursey. He sends it to the other side. The athleticism and the quickness of Wall very much on display there, wasn't it, Jimmy?
And all of a sudden, those shots are up 7-4. And I tell you, the 4 shots, 2 have been outstanding stops. And like we said, not an easy game simply because you come in and you're saying, well, this should be an automatic win night. It's against the Arizona Coyotes. They've been struggling. The Leafs have been on a roll. It's a home game. And yet, from a goaltender standpoint, you're thinking, here's a great chance to be the reason we don't win.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL's top draft prospects are ready to show what they've got at the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine.
Deep down the middle of the field, Marvin Harrison's going to take it to the house.
Tune in for exclusive interviews with GMs, head coaches, and the top prospects as they prepare for the NFL Draft.
You put the tape on, they're good football players, so sometimes it helps. You kind of know what you're getting.
Coverage continues all week on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Oh, no, we don't have a ticket. We can't put ours in.
I think you've already had 6 anyway up here, haven't you?
Face off in the neutral zone. Shot down into the Leaf end.
We don't wait for wins or goals.
Robertson on the far boards just scoops it out at center. McMahon knocked it down for Tavares. Far half boards. Tavares spinning into the corner. Looks again. Spinning once more. Knocked down on the play. Got back up as it's cleared to the line and out by Arizona. Benoit to the far side. In across the line. McMahon driving the net. Good save made by Ingram. And out come the Coyotes to center ice.
Well, Arizona could have been caught with too many men on the ice there.
Long shoot in. Wall was able to knock that wide of the net despite one of the Coyotes driving the net. And that was Michelli. And now it's around back of the net. The Leafs have it again under control, getting it ahead. McMahon can't get it out, though. Michelli trying to center in front of the goal. And it was knocked wide of the net as Bukestad couldn't get a shot directed at the net. Bukestad taken to the boards there by Matthews. Puck stolen back by Riley. He's going to backhand it down into neutral ice. Both teams changing. 3:37 to play. First period, 1-0 Toronto. Coyotes back of their goal. Get it up onto the left wing side. Flip it to the line and in. Broken up there by Lagesson, and the Maple Leafs break it back in across the line. Marner holds up, gets it down into the corner for Nyes. Nyes trying to fight along the boards for the puck. Got it freed up for Matthews. Centering pass! Marner has it go off the crossbar and up into the screen out of play. That was a little bit of a role reversal, wasn't it?
Although Matthew Nyes in on the forecheck forced the puck loose. Okay, little fun fact. I said the last time the Leafs beat the Arizona Coyotes here in regulation time.
Yes.
It was October 17th, 2002.
Okay.
Guess what happened in Phoenix that same day?
The sun came up?
Well, somebody's son, Matthew Nyes, was born in Phoenix.
Played at center and down into the Toronto zone. How did you find that out?
Well, Joe.
Yes. You're not going to tell me, are you? Long shot, stop! Oh, and a big save on the rebound made there by Wall as well.
I think Stan might have brought it up.
Good old Stan. Here's Zucker in with a long shot wide of the net. Reeves has it bound to center ice and comes up with the loose puck and circles back in his own zone. Leafs are trying to get a change going. And now the lead pass comes ahead for David Camp. Camp will send it into the corner. Reeves strides in there after it to get a hit in on Valimaki. It takes him down. Crowd responding to that. And a stoppage of play from one of the officials. And a little scrum develops after the fact.
And Reeves comes out of the pack looking for a dance partner.
And Liam O'Brien is...
I would say would probably be a willing partner, but the linesman jump in right away.
Yeah.
There are sometimes, I realize the official's job is to keep peace in the game and everything else, but I think there are times that if you don't let them, like when Radko Gudas in Anaheim was in, I think at some point you say, just get it over with.
Well, the Rangers are here on Saturday, and don't think that little something on the marquee won't be part and parcel of it, right? Camp waved out. Pontus Holmberg will move in. And the draw scrum, but then here we go. The gloves are dropped. Reeves and O'Brien. Long range at this point. Rao right at center ice. Reeves get a hold of one. Got some spinning. Another right. Another left. Reeves with a right hand. Another left and a couple of good slobs there by O'Brien. Cracked on the head by Reeves. Down goes O'Brien. Both players will go to the dressing room and everyone's on their feet.
I'll tell you something, I got a lot of respect for O'Brien for dropping the gloves. He's 6'1", they're listed at 6'1", 213 pounds. Reeves 6'2", 226. But you know where they are in the standings, and I think you really respect a guy that's going to be a warrior and fight Ryan Reeves on the road in the first period. This was no backing away, no turtling. Linesman got in after the initial scrum, dropped the puck, and they decided they were going to go anyway.
So both will get fighting majors.
Just the third fighting major for Ryan Reeves this season. Harbor Jack High and Marcus Foligno for his other two scraps this year.
Puck in the corner for Domi. Domi trying to chip it along for Nylander. He swings it back nicely, and a long shot in traffic then by Brody was blocked before it reached the net. Cleared back to the Toronto blue line. Coyotes lose the puck, but are able to regain it and brought in over the line. Trying to get a shot as Gunther a shot. That was stopped by Wall. Back to the point again. Another shot. Wall down. And he swallows that up. Another scrum in front of the net. Well, if nothing else, the Coyotes have arrived with a little burr under their saddle anyway.
The bottom line is, you've got the losing streak. You've got all this stuff going on. It's not as if guys don't care. It's not as if they think, it's just another game. We get paid on Friday. Everything's good. You don't want to feel like you're being embarrassed at any city, and especially in this one. And talking a bit to Bill Armstrong, the general manager of the Arizona Coyotes, he said, this is something, as a group, they got to fight their way through, and hopefully, within a year or two, this sort of becomes a turning point. The guys went through the dark days to get to the good ones.
The first part of the season, they were right in the mix and doing,
I think in December, at one point, the Leafs and Coyotes were tied.
Yes.
Might have been late December.
But this recent 13 games has just had the bottom drop right out of their season. Puck in the Toronto zone. Nyes against the boards, trying to pry it free. Matthews is in there as well. It comes back to the point. Kesselring to the far side, and a shot goes off a leg. There's still a rebound in front of the net, but it's poked out into the center ice area. Dursey will shoot it back in. Wall couldn't track it down. Comes back along the near side. Paul Morris on throwback Thursday, announcing less than a minute to go in the first period. 1-0 Toronto. Played off the boards to center. Chipped down into the Arizona zone, but it'll be an icing call. The linesmen are Steve Barton and Dan Kelly this evening. Nice from Marner at 13:04, the only goal on the board.
Shots on goal, even at 9 apiece. By the way, we mentioned the 12-game point streak that Arizona has against the Leafs on the road. The longest point streak against the Leafs is 13 games, which was the Boston Bruins from 1977 to 81. So that's how significant this little streak is.
Played down into the Arizona zone, rattled around the boards, blocked over there by Robertson. He tried to kick it to Tavares. That didn't work. 20 seconds in the period. Pass on the right wing side and in front of the goal. Knocked away by the Maple Leafs, and it is Benoit circling out from behind his net. Banks it ahead, off a stick and down into the zone it goes. McMahon centers, just off the heel of the stick of Tavares. He couldn't get a shot, and time will run out.
Well, it was a period I thought, Joe, where the Leafs teetered on whether they could blow out Arizona in the opening period like they did against Anaheim when the Ducks were in, or you can see the other way is that they gave up a number of glorious chances where Joseph Woll had to be at his best. And shots on goal end up, as we said, even 9 apiece at the end of the first period, and the Leafs on the one giveaway that they were able to take advantage of. Marner to Matthew Nyes to make it 1-0.
Leafs won 6-3 in the desert after leading 3-0. Saw Arizona come back with a pair in the second period to make it close. So it's 1-0 here after 20 minutes of play. Jim Taddy, Frankie Corrado coming away. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hello, I'm James Corden, and I'm so thrilled for you to hear my brand new show, This Life of Mine. Join me every week for incredible conversations and never-before-heard stories from the biggest stars in film, TV, fashion, music, sports, and more. Each week, we'll be talking about the people, the places, the possessions, music, and memories that have made them who they are today. This Life of Mine with me, James Corden. You can listen on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on Stars, Channel 109, or listen on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on SiriusXM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Olsen Canadian Leafs Hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Bouncing puck to the side of the near wall. Pass intercepted. Wasting away now is Marner. He's got a partial breakaway. He's in a goal. Drops it back. They score! Holy mackerel, what a beautiful play from Mitchell Marner, who reaches the 50-assist point for the 5th time in his career. And it is Nyes the beneficiary.
1-0 for the Leafs over Arizona after 20 minutes of play. TSN After 20 brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Unhibernate, redefine winter fun with Subaru all-weather capability. Visit your local Subaru dealer and welcome to uncommon winter confidence. Frankie C, or should I say, let me rephrase.
Yes,
Frankie, what did you see?
Oh, nice, Jimmy. Well, I'll tell you what I saw. I saw that play coming from Mitch Marner a mile away, didn't you? Because we've seen that many times. I recall a game against the Seattle Kraken where he did the exact same thing. He's on a breakaway, he takes a look back, and because he knows that the defenseman is chasing him and has so much momentum, if he pops that puck back into the right position, it's going to be an easy tap-in. It was for Giordano against the Seattle Kraken. Tonight it was for Matthew Nyes, and it's 1-0 Leafs, but it goes back to what I told you before the game. If you're patient and you play well defensively, this Arizona team is going to cough up the puck. They're going to make their mistakes. You'll be able to capitalize on them. That's exactly what happens. But that's a great play by Mitch Marner, which we've seen him make that play before.
And I'm going to say this with all due respect. Arizona is not going to fill the net.
Well, only if you let them. Like, early on in that first period, I felt like Arizona had the puck a lot more in the offensive zone, and they were getting through the neutral zone easier, a little too easy. It was like one pass was beating 3 Leafs, and there was a couple opportunities. There was a partial 3-on-1 early in the period, but then there was another partial 2-on-1 where Michael Carcone does the spinorama, Patrick Kane kind of looking for the back door. He misses on that. But, those are two situations where you let your guard down for a little bit. One pass beats 3 players in the neutral zone. If they execute on those plays, it's a different story. That doesn't happen. The Leafs find a way to play in the offensive zone a little bit more. Great fight by Ryan Reeves. Good job on the forecheck by the Leafs. And now you're in business. Now you're cooking. There is one thing, though, in the defensive zone that the Leafs have struggled with in this game, and I got to watch Arizona on Tuesday night. Montreal struggled with this as well. When Arizona brings the puck higher into the zone and they get that high cycle going and they got players kind of switching and mixing and matching, it takes the Leafs a little too long to sort that out, and you can see Arizona playing with the puck in that area. But I will say, once they do sort it out, it's not getting to the net. Like, there was one chance, really, where Joseph Woll had to stretch out, and he made a good save in front of the net.
Yeah, so that's the next point of conversation here. He stopped all 9. There was that one save where he had to drastically stretch and moved around, but no sign of any injury.
No, and that's good. That's exactly what you're looking for. He looks comfortable. And that one where he had to stretch out, you're not really thinking about the ankle. You're more thinking, how's that groin feeling? Because, you're out for a while. It's a reconditioning process, not just for the injury, the whole body, right? Like, you can come back, you can pull a hammy, you could tweak a groin, a hip, but it looks like he's okay there. Early in the period, he obviously wasn't as busier, but as the period went on, you could see he got some rubber. There was one save he had to make where it was a point shot by Valimaki, slap shot. It gets deflected off of Bertuzzi's stick, bounces down, and Woll had to stay with that. He had to react really quickly on that one. He made it look pretty simple. No rebound. It looks like after one period and 9 shots, which is, not a smaller sample size.
Yeah.
Looks like he's picked up where he left off.
Well, look, I think they did a nice job with him. Like, they brought him along very slowly. He's been out for quite some time, and there was no rush to get him back. And it should be applauded for that, because that's something we don't talk about, is the care that goes into rehabbing an injury.
Well, listen, like I've seen it firsthand here in Toronto. Like, the players here are very lucky to have, the best doctors, the best rehabilitation staff, reconditioning, whatever you want to call it. There's no expense spared in that regard here. So you're in good hands. and you just have to trust that they're going to get you to where you want to go, because everyone wants you back, and everyone wants you back for a long time. There's no sense in coming back, playing a couple games, and tweaking something. And you need to be back and stay back, and that's always the biggest challenge. So that'll be something that's ongoing for Joseph Woll, but after one period, check a box because he did a good job.
I think you'd agree with this. I thought the Leafs got better as the period wore on.
I agree 100%. I think they started the period with a little trepidation, just kind of dipping their toes into the water, seeing what kind of game this was going to be. And, early on, Arizona, it's not like they're getting a lot of shots. They just had the puck a lot. It felt like Arizona was skating towards the Leafs end a lot, and the Leafs weren't able to do that the other way. And something else we're going to have to, monitor here as the game goes on is how does the back end of the Leafs that is without Timothy Liljegren is now likely going to be without Mark Giordano unless he comes back out for the second period. Like, another loss for a blue line that is already kind of running on fumes and really leaning on some players more than they would like to.
And he went into the boards awkwardly and at a pretty good pace.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, he was fast going into the boards, and I don't think it was a penalty. It didn't seem like there was a trip. Like, there's a stick on him. Ultimately, I don't think that stick is what makes him fall and go into the boards. We didn't get a call either way that period. I thought the Leafs deserved a power play when Max Domi was behind the Arizona net, and Matt Dumba goes to hit him. He essentially punches him right in the face. If that's not roughing, I don't know what roughing is, because that's your typical roughing call. So that's a missed call, but the Leafs have a 1-0 lead going into the second period. And just like how we talked about at the start of the game, it's the same game plan now. Instead of dipping your toe into the water here, suffocate them a little bit more. You'll get another opportunity. You'll get more opportunities, and you'll have to bury on those.
Quick thought. Don't see very many fights. That one, it makes you understand why.
Well, that's two heavyweights going at it. Like, Liam O'Brien, I believe, leads the NHL in hits this season. He's a physical guy. He's a big player. And Ryan Reeves, of course, has had the heavyweight belt for a long time in this league. And Reeves had a great hit. He had a great hit on Valimaki. It was clean, no problem. Of course, O'Brien's on the ice, so he's coming over to have words. And that was a very good fight by two big bodies.
Leafs won, Arizona nothing after 20 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Looking for a simple way to reduce your monthly costs? Enbridge Gas can help with free energy-saving upgrades to keep you comfortable and saving energy year-round. If you're living on a fixed or modest income, you may qualify for our home winter-proofing program. You'll receive free insulation, draft-proofing, and a smart thermostat, all professionally installed at no cost to you. Sound too good to be true? We've already helped more than 22,000 Ontario homes save. Don't miss out. You could be next. Terms and conditions apply. See details at enbridgegas.com/winterproofing.
Who says kids get to have all the fun during March break? Say no to building a snowman. And shell yeah to building sandcastles with Sunwing Vacations. We've got what you're looking for out of paradise, like water parks, crystal clear waters, white sand beaches, and more. Not to mention a host of breathtaking destinations, each as beautiful as the last. When you save more, you can explore more with your travel agent or
Diverse stories, captivating originals. Stars has the shows unlike anything else.
You're changing the game.
This February, add Stars to your Crave subscription for new episodes of the crime saga Power Book 3, Raising Kanan.
I win everything.
Plus, all new episodes of the gritty drama Hightown.
You should be ready for what's coming.
Stars also has big movies like the action-packed King of Killers.
Nobody leaves until the game is finished.
And the Oscar-winning hit, Argo.
I've never left anyone behind.
Get Stars as an add-on at crave.ca.
Did you fix that leaky tap?
Uh-huh.
How about that loose doorknob?
Uh-huh.
Right now, we can get a free medium pizza from 2 for $1 Pizza.
Did somebody say free pizza?
See, it's not just the kids that have selective hearing.
Right now, get a free medium one-topping pizza with a minimum $25 purchase before tax and delivery. Limited time offer. Online orders only. Visit 2for1pizza.com and use coupon code FREEM.
2 for 1 pizza. 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
Oh, yes, Guy. The out-of-town scoreboard is brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota. Check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. Here's what we have into the first period. Bruins 3-0 over Vegas. Also after 20, Canadiens and Panthers tied at 1. End of the first, Canes and Jackets scoreless. Same time frame, the Islanders 2-0 over Detroit. And at the end of the first as well, Sabres and Lightning tied at 1. Getting set to start, Jets in Dallas. Wild visiting the Nashville Predators. Later on at 9 o'clock, Avs in Chicago at 10. Pittsburgh in Seattle, and also at 10, the Kings in Vancouver, and at 10:30, the Ducks visiting the San Jose Sharks. In our game, 1-0 for the Leafs over the visiting Arizona Coyotes. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network.
Fuel your fandom when you listen to live sports on the all-new Sirius XM app.
It's deep. It's going. And it is gone. It is bedlam at the bank.
Hear the games you just can't miss.
Caitlin Clark is the NCAA's all-time scoring leader.
And get closer to the teams you love wherever you are.
Connor McDavid wins the game for Edmonton.
The action you crave is just a tap away. Live sports. Live on the all-new Sirius XM app.
You gotta love sports.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent.
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, over,
and get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
One to nothing in favor of the Maple Leafs on a goal by Matthew Nyes on a beautiful setup from Mitch Marner. His 50th assist of the season at 13:04. Liam O'Brien is a Haligonian. And 6'1", 213, as you mentioned, and he's no stranger to the pugilistic aspects of this sport. He and Ryan Reeves going at it at the 17:52 mark of the first period. And we'll have a face-off at center ice that is brought to you by Alpine Credits. You own your own home and need a loan. Alpine Credits can help. Get approved at alpinecredits.ca. The Leafs defend the goal, 2 hour left, and the Arizona Coyotes to the right. second game of this homestand for the Maple Leafs with the New York Rangers in town on Saturday night. And we're ready to go, and the puck is dropped as Riley will bank it off the boards down the ice, and fresh ice brings about an icing.
And looking over at the Leaf bench, I believe still a man short, Joe. We've got Ryan Reeves in the penalty box, and so I guess 2 men short. I don't think Mark Giordano has come back. Only 12, 2, 4, 6.
Oh, careful now. You know what you're like at your math.
2 to 3 times they get it wrong. That's almost half the time.
Played. Thank you. Down into the Leaf zone it goes. Brody playing it ahead. Brought out now at center ice. Matthews to the line, trying to flip it in. Plays it to himself down into the corner. Had to go around back of the net. Marner couldn't track it down, and the Coyotes get it out at center. Back checking diligently there was Nyes, and the puck comes out at center. Now Marner flipping it in on the right side for Matthews on his backhand. He pulls up, looks for a man, leaves it for Marner. Marner goes around back of the goal, still with it. Marner's coming out into the slot, still with it. Curls at the blue line, still with it. Down into the corner now for Nylander. Nylander curls back of the net into the near corner for McCabe. Back into the slot, off the bench, a shot! Drilled into the chest of Ingram by Bertuzzi as the Leafs were spinning that around a lot in the midst of a player change.
That was the impressive part, is it seemed that everybody jumped onto the ice, ended up with some open ice. They were able to find somebody, and Tyler Bertuzzi, why wouldn't you shoot from there? The hottest Leaf in the goal-scoring category over the last 3 games.
Face off to the right in the Arizona zone. Leafs maintain possession. Shot in traffic. Scores! A deflection from Laguson's point shot, and it may be Bertuzzi again.
He took a wave at it right in front of the Arizona goaltender. Not much of a reaction from Connor Ingram as the puck changes directions right in front of him. And Tyler Bertuzzi is the first to the Leaf bench for the high fives. And the hot streak continues for Bertuzzi. That is going to be goal number
12.
12 on the season. And what, 5 of them in the last 3 games. You got to remember, too, with the Boston Bruins last year in the first round of the playoffs, Boston goes out in 7, but Tyler Bertuzzi had 5 goals and 10 points in those 7 games.
Played down into the Arizona end. 2-0 Toronto. Errant pass. And icing called by the linesman despite a pretty good effort on the race to the puck by Logan Cooley, but to no avail.
It's amazing how important those goals are, right? Those mid-air deflections in front. And even when you go back to the Leafs game against Vegas, it was a mid-air deflection on a wrist shot from the point that kind of blew it open for the Golden Knights. When you talk of, all the great pressure you can have and great plays, this is just a simple play with traffic in front.
Oh, backhand in front of the goal, knocked away by Ingram. It comes around back of the net. And the Coyotes will flip it high, knocked down nicely there by Brody. Played ahead on the right wing side. So the experiment of having Morgan Riley play on the right and Brody, who had played so strong on the left-hand side in the absence of Riley, lasts just 1 game. Now, are the Leafs looking for a right-handed shot defenseman? I would suggest they are. Puck back into the Arizona zone. It comes to the line, kept in by Toronto. Around the boards it goes to the near side. Nylander's drawing the additional assist on the goal along with Lagesson. And it's back into the center ice area. Played ahead for Camp, and he'll just roll it in. Robertson thinks better of forechecking. He's gone to the bench. Pass comes ahead for Jack McBain. Played in over the line. A return pass for McBain didn't connect. It comes back to the point. Kept in by the Coyotes with a shot that went wide of the net. Puck on the near side. Nylander trying to work up the boards, and now does, and finds skating room and works in on the left side. He's driving that centering pass. Oh, and a shot taken there by Holmberg. He fanned on it as it went off the heel of his stick. Set up nicely, though, by William Nylander. Coyotes back in their own zone. Dursey taking his time as the changes have been made. Now he shoots it in. Wall couldn't slow it up much back of the goal. A centering pass picked off. Maple Leaf Matthews starting out of his own zone, dropping it back. Played to center and to the line. Down into the corner and back of the net in the Arizona zone. Played ahead, and the Coyotes will break it out. Pass to the near wing is broken up. Trying to come away with it there was Marner. Marner to Lagesson. Fired into the zone. Matthews down the boards. Got it freed up for Marner. Back to the point to McCabe. Fakes the shot. Fanned on a pass. Then tried to send it in, but it went off a leg. Now Marner's got it in to the slot area again for McCabe. Over on the left-hand side. Back to Marner off his skate. And it's going to be brought by Michelli to center ice and played down into the Leaf end. Bertuzzi's 12th from Lagesson and Nylander at 105. And the Leafs have doubled the lead to 2-0.
Extends Willie Nylander's point streak to 9.
Brought in now by Domi. Played into the left wing corner. Falling on the play was Bertuzzi. Couldn't handle the pass anyway. And it's cleared into the zone by Alex Kerfoot. Kerfoot and Brody engage at the boards. Flipped up on the left wing and chopped ahead for Nylander. Couldn't get it out. Right back in again for Kerfoot. Kerfoot overskates the puck. Brody is able to get it around on the near side for Bertuzzi. He's going to backhand it to center ice. Nylander gave chase but couldn't come up with it. Now an errant pass. And an icing call with 15:10 to go in the period. Coming against the Arizona Coyotes, and back down into Arizona territory it will come.
Well, we talked about the Arizona Coyotes and the tough stretch they're in, the tough season that they've had. But Connor Ingram, you mentioned the goaltender for the Coyotes. And the stats he's had, 5 shutouts on the season as well. That's pretty incredible, isn't it? Franchise record is 8. In the Winnipeg Jets, Arizona Coyote franchise history. Mike Smith, Ilya Bryzgalov, and Nikolai Habibulin, the other 3.
Pass into the slot area is going to be covered up by Ingram. This is a 5-game road trip for Arizona. Overtime loss in Winnipeg extended the streak, and then losing in Montreal 4-2 the other night.
Well, talking to Frankie Corrado, Frankie did the game for TSN on the television side, and he said Arizona was actually the better team in that game. It was Montembeault, the goaltender for Montreal, that was the difference in it.
Puck on the far boards. Gunther gets it out. Leafs restored at the blue line. McCabe playing it up the middle for Tavares. Rink wide pass off a skate. Brought in now by Robertson, but he couldn't handle it. Tavares back checking, but it's in over the line. Here are the Coyotes coming in, and a sharp angle shot is snared rather emphatically out of the air by Joseph Wall to stop play.
10th shot on goal for the Coyotes. Left-handed shot coming on the right wing side, but I believe that was Zucker, was it not, that let it go? From about below the circle on the right wing side. Tried to go short side, and Joseph Wall, perfect position, didn't overplay it, and snapped the glove up, and that was after Zucker eluded a hit from Jake McCabe, who tried to squeeze him out on the boards.
Face off in the Toronto zone, and a face-off win, but the shot from the slot went off a skate and went harmlessly wide. Centering pass knocked away by the Leafs, and now here's Reeves out of the penalty box, getting it down into Arizona territory, but a bad pass on the backhand by Reeves turns the puck over, and the Coyotes are back in over the line. Dropping it back on the near side, and a one-timer by Gunther went over top of the net. Back to the point, another shot goes wide of the net off the stick of Kesselring. kept alive by the Coyotes to the blue line. Gunther back into the slot, almost stolen there by David Camp. But now it's brought to center, and a pretty good hit by O'Brien against Reeves as they get it down into the corner. Not so sure Mr. O'Brien wants another effort at this or not. Played along the boards, brought out by Nylander. He slides to the left wing side on his backhand with a pass in front. Oh, and it was just tipped there wide of the net by Matthews. Pass into the far corner for Nylander. Banks it back to the blue line to Brody. Now to Marner. Cross ice feed for Nylander. Nylander walking the line with it. Nylander works into the corner with it. Nylander trying to go to the front of the net. Had it knocked off his stick, but Marner kept it in momentarily. Wanted to have the... Is Marner playing defense here?
Yeah, Marner's playing the point.
Here's a pass in now, and a wrist shot by Matthews was knocked away by goaltender Ingram. Now Tavares working down around back of the net. Centers it for Matthews. Fired it just wide. Benoit keeping it in. Round on the boards for Lagesson. Lagesson holds, sends it down into the corner back of the net. Leafs pressing now. Benoit back to the blue line for Matthews. A long shot that went wide, and he heads to the bench. Leafs get a change going. Robertson spinning in the corner. Plays it back to the point. Kept in by Lagesson. Robertson knocks down a pass. Still with it. Back of the net it goes. McMahon centering in a shot deflected wide. Another shot deflects wide of the net. Trying to clear and does is O'Brien. Icing against the Coyotes.
Boy, and the Coyotes hanging on here midway through the second period as the Leafs keep coming. But yeah, Mitch Marner, we've seen this happen before when the Leafs have been down a defenseman where Mitch Marner will slip back to the point. And he did there as Willie Nylander joined Austin Matthews and Matthew Nyes in the top line. And Matthews had a couple of opportunities, some from long range. One Ingram seemed to just get his right shoulder on. Another one on a redirection that just went wide. Actually, Connor Ingram wasn't his shoulder. He was looking at his mask to see if there was a mark there from the Matthews shot.
Played up on the left wing. Carsoni got across the line. Far side for McBain. Driving the net, and that was knocked away. All right, I'm about to jinx the game. There's not been a power play thus far in this contest. And across the line, the Leafs with a shot. That deflects wide of the net. The Leafs have the fourth lowest power play time in the National Hockey League. They have the best power play percentage-wise in the league. As Arizona in with a shot that's going to deflect up into the screen and out of play. You go 0 for 1, and you move from second to first.
No, who is in second now? Tampa, I think. Played as they dropped down. By the way, one of the teams that has been penalized or had fewer power plays than the Leafs, the Edmonton Oilers. So go figure. You think teams that are talented and good puck possession teams and don't draw a lot of penalties.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Sandra and Kabir are celebrating 50 years of marriage by turning their boring bedroom into a spicy one.
Hey everybody, Mike from TSI. Join our awesome community today. You see all those awesome emojis in the chat? See everybody's names rolling down the bottom of the screen here? Get your name in that list. It's only 99 cents a month. 99 cents, you can't even get a coffee for 99 cents anymore, guys. Join today. Click the description of the video. You'll see the link to join in the description. Let's get back to the action. Go Leafs go. Let's finish strong, boys.
In touch. A person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you. Our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
Thinking about starting insulin? You might be.
Tresiba is the #1 prescribed long-acting insulin by endocrinologists in Canada. Its flexible dosing means you can take once daily Tresiba at whatever time works best for you, with at least 8 hours between doses, even right after you test your morning blood sugar. Talk to your doctor today to see if Tresiba is right for you, and visit nowready.ca.
Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph back here at Scotiabank Arena. Face off in the Toronto zone to the left of Joseph Wall, who has faced 10 shots.
I guess we never really did talk much about the 25th anniversary of this arena, did we?
No.
Would have been just past. I just saw something posted up at the scoreboard.
Remember the parade?
No.
Oh. There was a
talking about
parade.
67?
Yeah, a parade down from Maple Leaf Gardens to the new building.
If I don't go where I'm not invited. I stay home a lot.
Played down into the Arizona zone by Reeves. Had it in his skates. It poked its way out in front. Kept alive now by Reeves. Slid in now back of the net for David Camp. Back to the point it'll go. Benoit's shot went high and wide off a body. Back of the net again for Pontus Holmberg. Tried to center. Reeves was there, but it was tipped away by Ingram and into the corner. But the fourth line doing a nice job of hemming them in. Back to the point, but it's going to come out at center ice, forcing Benoit back into neutral territory. Leafs will get a change going. Likewise for Arizona. 2-0 the score as an errant pass goes down into the Arizona end of the rink, and that'll be an icing call to be brought back into the Leaf zone.
So far, the Leafs have won 60% of the draws in this game. John Tavares winning 5 of 7. Same as Austin Matthews. He'll take this face-off.
Speaking of Matthews, he has the most posts this year, 11. And when you include crossbars, it's 15. Never mind the 52 goals that he has managed to find twine.
So you're saying if he was luckier, he could have 67 now?
Does that add up?
You can text me when you get home after. The little calculator on your phone.
Don't try to fool me with mathematics. Down into the corner around the boards it goes to the far side for Brody. Kept in at the point by Nyes, looking for Matthews, but it was out of his reach. And the Coyotes are going to break it out at center ice. There are people who have listened to this broadcast over the years saying, how did those two get out of public school?
We were the tallest in our class.
Pass on the right side of the shot. That was kicked away by Ingram off the stick of Nylander. Back to the blue line. Marner playing defense again to the right wing side. Matthews snapped it just off the post. Nylander with it again. Working back along the boards. Played it in for Domi. Domi curls out. Back to the point to Riley. Riley doesn't shoot it. Now he works to the left wing boards. Into the corner. Centering pass. Blocked. Rebound taken safely back of the net by Valmaki. And then flipped out into the center ice area and down into the Leaf end. We were the tallest.
The only ones with beards.
Here, drop pass and a shot. The rebound taken to safety there by Dursey as Ingram lost it.
Well, he almost put it in his own net.
Yes, he did. Here the sprawling save. Rebound in front of the goal. Knocked into the corner. And the Maple Leafs will get it out to the line, but not out of the zone. Benoit. Round back of the net. Played off the boards high, bouncing, and this will roll. And an icing call with 8:28 left to play in period number 2. Nyes from Marner at 13:04 of the first period. Bertuzzi from Lagesson and Nylander at 1:05 of the second period. Mark Giordano leaving the game in the first period with an injury. And the Leafs with 5 defensemen and off times utilizing Mitch Marner back there. Draw wasn't done according to Hoyle, so they'll do it over again.
Well, the shots on goal in this period, they readjusted the shots in the first to be 9-8 for Arizona, but the Leafs out shooting the Coyotes 9-1 here past the midway mark of the second period.
The Leafs flip the puck out at center ice. Knocked down there, but they'll have to wait Arizona before sending it in, and when they do, it's intercepted and played out into neutral ice by Bertuzzi, only to have it shot back into the Toronto end. Benoit taken to the boards heavily there. The puck goes free into the corner. Carsoni got it around on the near side. The Leafs chip it, but not out. Kept alive by Moser into the slot. A shot. Wall came across to make a nice save there. Played around the boards and around back of the net. Good play made by McCabe to stand his man up, and the Leafs trying to poke it up along the boards, but are failing to do so as Robertson can't find an opening. It comes back to the point. Krause to the left wing side, a pass in front, knocked away by Wall, and then got some help there from Benoit to play it up on the boards. Tavares will get it out at center ice. Change is coming here for the Coyotes. Right back in again come Arizona. Into the slot area for Krause with a shot. Blockered away nicely there again by Wall. Leafs need to get the puck out and get a change, and Pontus Holmberg's going to do just that. Up for Bobby McMahon, and a backhand is easily taken on the chest by Connor Ingram and held for a face-off that'll send us to a commercial break after this 1 point of great wisdom.
I was just going to give a little shout out to somebody that said they're listening.
Good.
Yeah. Mike Rita, comedian. Doug Gilmour's wife Sonia is one of his biggest fans, and he's worked shows with my son as well. I sent a message, said he's listening to us, as he always does on his way to some gigs.
Nice. Well, let's say hello and have a guffaw over him.
Yeah, we'll get him up here at some point.
Oh, absolutely. Too. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
There's a channel that explodes with gritty guitar texture and perfect pop melodies. Sirius XM Pop Rocks serves up those undeniable 90s anthems, 2K hits, and today's fresh pop finds. Pop Rocks. Turn it up now on Channel 6 and anytime in the all-new Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastian won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs 2, the Arizona Coyotes, no score. Leafs trying to improve on a record of 15-11-2 at home. Shot by Marner was blocked. Marner playing defense here with TJ Brody as the puck comes out at center ice. Now stolen back, and now Nyes in over the line looking for a pass to the far side. Doesn't work to Matthews. Score! Nice to Nylander, but he had gone too far. But the big boy was sliding down the slot, and number 53 is in the books.
Turnover by Arizona right at the Leaf blue line. Has everyone going the wrong way when Matthew Nyes takes it back up ice on an odd man rush. And the pass from Nyes to Nylander gets partially blocked. So Nylander has to wait for it. And in the meantime, somebody's wide open in the slot. And it's number 34 who has no problem slinging it. Past Connor Ingram to give the Leafs a 3-0 lead.
53rd of the year. Leafs are looking for a right-handed shot defenseman, and right now it's number 16. So Brody is on the left side when Marner's playing defense. Nylander and Nyes with the assists. And the Maple Leafs with a 3-0 lead. Back to the point it comes. Stecker with a shot taken on the chest by Wall. And that will stop play. 53rd goal of the season. You know, he has blocked 67 shots. Nick Bonino of the Rangers leads as far as forwards are concerned with 78. Noel Acciari in Pittsburgh was 68. He's got 53 goals. He may be the best defensive forward on the ice. It's amazing.
You go by the numbers, yeah. Of course, the critics will say, doesn't that mean he's in his own end a lot?
Back into the zone.
When he's not scoring his 60, 70 goals.
Robertson into the corner for Tavares. Couldn't center. Takes it to the boards. That draws a scrum in along the wall. Tavares dragging it back at the net. Fed it off now from McCabe. Back to the point. Benoit purposely wide of the net. And a penalty coming here. Tavares was thundered into the goal. And I think the first power play of the game is going to go to the Maple Leafs. And it'll be brought to you by your Ontario Subaru dealers. Get more value out of every kilometer in a Subaru, starting with award-winning safety at your local Subaru dealer. Leafs to the power play when we return. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Let's get jerseys. Let's get jerseys.
Right now, become a Tangerine client with a savings account and you could get a free Raptors jersey.
We want jerseys.
Finally, a savings account worth cheering for.
Jerseys. Jerseys.
Find out how to score a jersey at tangerine.ca/Raptors. Tangerine. That's forward banking. Available to new clients who open and fund an eligible account while supplies last. Conditions apply.
Did you fix that leaky tap?
Uh-huh.
How about that loose doorknob?
Uh-huh.
Right now, we can get a free medium pizza from 2 for $1 Pizza.
Did somebody say free pizza?
See, it's not just the kids that have selective hearing.
Right now, get a free medium one-topping pizza with a minimum $25 purchase before tax and delivery. Limited time offer. Online orders only. Visit 2for1pizza.com and use coupon code FREEM.
2 for 1 pizza. 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
Speaking of streaks,
yeah,
it's amazing. The fans are so educated when they come here. Any of the trivia questions,
everybody gets it. Yeah.
What's the streak is what, 25 years now?
I don't remember a wrong answer. Coming up.
Oh, Daryl Sittler in the house. A young fan getting jersey from one of the greatest of all time as far as the Leaf uniform is concerned. Leafs on the power play. Long shot. And Ingram is able to swallow that up and hold it for a face-off. 3-0 Toronto. Nyes from Marner. Bertuzzi from Lagesson and Nylander. Matthews from Nylander and Nyes. And that is where we stand. Leafs win the draw. Back to the point, and it's going to deflect off his skate. And the Leafs have to hustle back to retrieve it. Quickly played right back in again for Marner. Marner one-handing it back, but it's intercepted. And now here's a break for Kerfoot in on goal. Scores! Alex Kerfoot, the former Leaf, intercepted a pass at the blue line and took it the length of the rink, chipping it over the shoulder of Joseph Woll to get the Coyotes on the board, and for Kerfoot, his second shorty of the season.
Always seems to happen to former Leaf, doesn't it? As Morgan Riley gambled to try to keep it in at the left point, Kerfoot poked it away from him, and Willie Nylander was too far away to be able to catch him. And this puck is rolling when Kerfoot chips it up over the left hand of Joseph Woll. But here you go, where you can talk about the power play all you want, but here's in a position to take a 4-0 lead and really take control of this game. Instead, Arizona's got a reason to get excited.
Kerfoot with his 10th goal of the season. Leafs send their second unit onto the ice. Here's a Robertson shot. Oh, and that was drilled just wide. And it's shot down the ice by Arizona. That is the 8th shorthanded goal against the Maple Leafs this year. Puck in the Toronto end with Domi. He gets it ahead, and Robertson is skating it through neutral ice. Flips it in on the right side. Tried to barge down the boards, but lost it. And Kerfoot is bringing it back at center, only to have it off his stick, and Bukestad will send it all the way back into his own zone. And it'll be launched high out and down the ice, caught by Woll and dished off now for Riley. First unit coming on. Here's Marner to the line and into the left wing corner. Played off the boards. It's going to be punched up on the right side. Cooley works in on the right wing boards. Tried to get around the defense of Riley, but failed. And with 8 seconds left in the power play, Nylander's through center ice. In on the right wing. Dropping it off for Marner. Nicely played by skate to stick, and now to Nylander. Back to Marner, and a shot. That's blocked. And now a foot race working down the right side with Cooley. Cooley trying to work in with a shot. Pad save, rebound! Another save made by Woll, and the puck on the near boards. Not cleared. Valimaki keeping it in. Round back of the net for Marner. Off a stick that Matthews couldn't track down. Shot from the blue line was blockered away by Woll. Leafs failed to get it out again. Down in around the boards for Brody. And finally, he's going to get it ahead, and Matthews skates it to center. Matthews dropping for Nylander. Nylander's going to launch it high down into Arizona territory with 3 minutes to play in the second period. Down into the Toronto zone. Rattled around the boards, but it doesn't reach Pontus Holmberg, and then a centering pass is launched up into the screen by Liam O'Brien, which will bring a face-off in the Toronto zone with 2:46 to play in the period, and the Leafs now leading 3-1.
Well, I guess I could bring it up now because we did not want to jinx it, but shutouts on February 29th in the history of the NHL. Well,
yes.
We'll wait till we get a little break after that. Yeah. One member of the Toronto Maple Leafs is one goaltender that's had one. That was Martin Jones in 2020 with the San Jose Sharks against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I believe Marc-Andre Fleury had one 4 years ago as well.
Played down into Arizona territory for Reeves. Reeves playing it around back of the net for David Camp. Left there for Holmberg. Back to the point to McCabe. Sent towards the net. And it goes up into the screen, and here's your opportunity.
I'll go real fast. First goaltender to do it was Charlie Hodge of the Montreal Canadiens in 1964. Al Smith of the Hartford Whalers in 1980. Glenn Healy of the Toronto Maple Leafs in Atlanta in 2000. Evgeny Nabokov in 2004. For San Jose, Cristobal Huet with Washington in 2008. Ryan Miller of the Sabres in 2012. Fleury in 2016. Tuukka Rask, Martin Jones in 2020. Just an interesting little... And then that was thanks to Daily Faceoff.
Played out and down the ice, and an icing call coming here. And you know what? This is also Dan Daouz's birthday. He is a leap year baby, and as you know, a very dear friend of our family, Paul Gilinardo, who passed away this year. He would have been 10 years old today.
10 birthday.
Yes, 10 birthday old. Yeah. Gonna have a little get-together and a birthday party for him tomorrow.
Good.
At Unionville Arms, which will be fun. And lots of memories and the odd beverage. Puck down in the Arizona boards area, finally dug free, but it comes right out in front of the net. And shielding it there was Bukestad to get it down into the Leaf end. Leafs, Riley goes around back of the net. Bank pass ahead. That misfired, but it's going to go right down on the goaltender, who scoops it aside. And instead, it's on to Bobby McMahon's stick, and his weak backhand, though, didn't reach the front of the net. Minute 50 to go in the second. Cleared down into the Toronto zone, forcing Benoit back after the puck. On the boards now, near side for McCabe. Launched high to center ice, settled down by Nyes, chipped in over the line for Tavares. Tavares holds, works to the backhand, still with it, and then had it knocked away in traffic. Brought out by Arizona on the wing. Cooley stops it up, drops it into the slot, a shot high over top of the net. I don't think Wall even saw that. Puck comes off the boards to the near point, but not out. Kept alive there by Moser. To the right wing side, a drive. That was whistled wide of the goal. Played back to the point again. They'll try it on the right wing side once more. Played into the side of the Leaf goal. Played back of the net then by Benoit, but again, the Arizona Coyotes all over it, and now pushed out, and Nyes able to skate it out at center. Got it in over the line. 2-point night for Nyes, as it's back down into the center ice area with less than a minute to go in the period. Back come the Coyotes. Gunther got it around to the side of the net. Matthews intercepts and gets it out. Leafs to center, and Lagesson shoots it into the zone. Slowly coming out of the Leaf end was Benoit, who got tangled up there with Gunther. Now here's a pass ahead, and fanning on the shot. What a chance breaking in was Nick Schmaltz, and he never did get a chance at goal. Cleared down into the Arizona end with 16 seconds to play in the period. Coyotes through neutral ice. Kerfoot getting it back in with a backhand. That was stopped by Wall. He scampers to the other side as the puck comes around to the near wing. 2 seconds left. They'll have to hurry to get a shot away, and they won't be able to do it. 1-0 Toronto after the first. Nyes from Marner. Then Bertuzzi from Lagesson and Nylander. Matthews with his 53rd from Nylander and Nyes. But a shorthanded goal by Alex Kerfoot has the score at 3-1 Toronto.
Yeah, and then this one is going to bother Sheldon Keefe. 3-0. You got a chance to put the game away with a power play goal. Instead, it goes the other way in the shorthanded marker. Probably has Arizona in the dressing room saying, fellas, after we scored that, we started to get some more opportunities out of it, and we're right in it. So the Leafs at least giving the opposition a glimmer of hope going into the third.
Jim Taddy and who's that other guy? Oh, yeah, Frankie Corrado will be along with our second period intermission. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's fantasy baseball season, and Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you draft a winning team.
Gone for Ronald Acuna.
Labor, the League of Alternative Baseball Realities auction-style drafts. Tomorrow at 7 Eastern, the top experts in the fantasy industry are drafting against each other.
I'm curious where you come in on Ellie De La Cruz.
Upside is top 5. Jim Bowden, Jeff Erickson, and Ray Flowers bring you pick-by-pick analysis, player projections, and more. Labor, Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastion won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season, and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolies and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Canadian Leafs hockey is on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Now stolen back, and now Nyes in over the line looking for a pass to the far side. Doesn't work to Matthews. Scores! Nyes to Nylander, but he had gone too far. But the big boy was sliding down the slot, and number 53 is in the books.
It sure is. 3-1 for the Leafs over the Arizona Coyotes after 40 minutes of play. TSN After 40 delivered by 241 Pizza. Get a free medium one-topping pizza with a $25 minimum purchase before tax and delivery. Online orders only. Visit 241pizza.com. Use the code FREEM for that free medium pizza. Well, that wasn't a medium goal, and that was heavyweight, wasn't
it? Yes, it was. And listen, Matthew Nyes makes that goal happen because he's the one who turns over the puck in the neutral zone, and then it's a 2-on-1 going the other way. So you give Nyes a lot of credit. Good defensive spot in the neutral zone, turns it into some offense. As he makes that pass across to Nylander, Dumba gets a stick on it, so that slows the puck down just enough that it's dribbling to Nylander. Well, now the whole back check goes to Nylander because it's panic mode. He's going to shoot the puck. We got to get on him. And that is way too much time and space to give Austin Matthews, who's had a couple good looks so far in this game. Ingram has had his number leading up to that point. Matthews makes no mistake. And isn't it crazy at this point in the season for someone to score a goal and then hear Rossi come over the PA and announce that it's that player's 53rd goal of the year? Isn't that it's a little, when you're in the building and then you hear it, you're almost like, wow, like 50, what are we? Are we at the end of April? No, it's the end of February. He's got 53, and it's just all business for him, business as usual.
Speaking of business per usual, and here's my new idea. You should have a comeback player for the second half as opposed to how they played in the first half.
Okay.
Bertuzzi.
Oh, I like it. That's a good pick.
He can't miss now.
Listen, 12th goal of the year, and it seemed like he was never going to score another goal at one point. And chances are, if you've missed a million opportunities to score for a certain portion of the season, things will balance themselves out. Like if you're an 11% shooter over your career and you're shooting at 6%, like that's going to balance itself out at some point. Yeah. Just like if you're an 18% shooter and your career average has been 11. So for Tyler Bertuzzi, good for him. You know where he goes, Jim? Right to the front of the net. That's exactly where he needs to be. And it's a pretty simple play. Win a faceoff, get it back to the point, get the shot through to the net, and Bertuzzi gets a stick on it. He doesn't get boxed out, and that's a goal that comes 1:05 minutes into the period, and now everyone can kind of settle into the game at that point because you feel like you don't have to chase it. You feel like, okay, we got one. It was a quick strike. Now you move on from there. The thing I don't like, Jim, is if it's a 3-0 lead, you don't need to pinch in on the power play and try and keep a hope puck alive, and that leads to the Alex Kerfoot shorthanded goal against.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're crying for penalties, and we get one, and 23 seconds in, step forward, boom, down the other end of the ice.
So the Leafs probably deserved a power play or two leading up to that point.
I would agree.
So they finally get their power play, and then it's not a great pass by Marner. It's slow moving to Riley, but that's that split-second instance where it's like, all right, let's just live to fight another day. It's 3-0. You know, even if Riley does poke that puck and keep it in, what's the end game? Like, is that going to lead to a prime scoring opportunity? It's unlikely. So, anyways, he dives in. Kerfoot, pretty fast.
Yeah.
We've seen him for 4 years here in Toronto. If there was one thing he could do, it was skate. Nylander can't catch him. And he makes a move on Joseph Woll where it's like he gets Woll moving one way, he chips it back the other way. Nice goal. We probably would have liked to see that a little more when he was playing in the blue and white last year, Jimmy, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. Any one of the last 3 or 4 years. But,
right.
But
good for him. Good for him. And you can bet on a few things. Death, taxes, and former Leafs scoring in their return to Scotiabank Arena.
Especially after they had the video tribute earlier in the game.
Hold on a second. I think this video tribute thing is overblown. It wasn't a video tribute. It's a scoreboard tribute with a picture of him. Yeah. Video tributes are reserved for the guys that really had a long-lasting
now that you mention it was kind of flat.
It's just the guys that come back, the Halls, the Kerfoots, the Engvalls of the world, they get their face, a little pan over to the bench, and I have no problem with that. It's not like they're rolling out the best of goals in the last 4 years for Alex Kerfoot.
Yeah, they didn't fly his family in. I mean, that was kind of cheap.
No. Yeah.
Okay, so but I agree. You know that, and that Kerfoot goal is sort of what you would. There's been a lot of reference points that way for the Leafs over the years.
Just don't open the door. Open the door for a team in that situation. And listen, it's still a 2-goal lead. You're going into the third period. The Leafs have been the better team. But what it does is, Arizona gets that goal. Now all of a sudden they had a couple good chances there. And if it wasn't for Joseph Woll, who we thought looked really good, he looked sharp, he looked engaged, focused, competing, which is very important for a goaltender. If it wasn't for him, it could be a much closer game on the scoreboard than it actually is.
They found their energy. About a minute left before we break for the out-of-town scoreboard. And so there's one play where Woll was really pushed to stretch himself out again, and he just hopped up on his skates, and I looked at him and went, oh, that's impressive.
You know what? And that goes back to he's healthy, he's comfortable, but he's also pretty good, isn't he? That's. I think that's the most important thing.
Yes, guy.
You could be healthy, you could be comfortable, you could be competitive. Sometimes you just aren't that good. He's a good goaltender. So I think that's the thing that makes it even more exciting when you watch him in this first game back. And for me, this game has had the perfect amount of action for him.
Yeah.
It hasn't been too much, but it's been just enough where he can look after the game and say, I feel like I had a good test, and I feel like I passed it.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's stopped, 18 and 19 so far.
Good math there.
And at least twice, maybe 3 times, got stretched and bounced up nicely.
And that's exactly what you're looking for. Get the results, but at the same time, know where your body is at.
3-1 for the Leafs over Arizona after 40 minutes of play. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Get the official NHL app to watch, read, and listen to all the deeks.
All I can say is absolutely wow.
All the sauce. All the saves.
Stop from Vasilevsky.
All the hits. All the snipes. All the sellies.
He scores! Unbelievable!
All the hockey. If it's hockey, it's here. Listen to every NHL game for free, now with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Download the official NHL app now.
Looking for a simple way to reduce your monthly costs? Enbridge Gas can help with free energy-saving upgrades to keep you comfortable and saving energy year-round. If you're living on a fixed or modest income, you may qualify for our home winterproofing program. You'll receive free insulation, draft proofing, and a smart thermostat, all professionally installed at no cost to you. Sound too good to be true? We've already helped more than 22,000 Ontario homes save. Don't miss out. You could be next. Terms and conditions apply. See details at enbridgegas.com/winterproofing.
Who says kids get to have all the fun during March break? Say no to building a snowman. And shell yeah to building sandcastles with Sunwing Vacations. We've got what you're looking for out of paradise, like water parks, crystal clear waters, white sand beaches, and more. Not to mention a host of breathtaking destinations, each as beautiful as the last. When you save more, you can explore more with your travel agent or
diverse stories, captivating originals. Stars has the shows unlike anything else.
You're changing the game.
This February, add Stars to your Crave subscription for new episodes of the crime saga Power Book 3, Raising Kanan.
I win every day.
Plus, all new episodes of the gritty drama Hightown.
You should be ready for what's coming.
Stars also has big movies like the action-packed King of Killers.
Nobody leaves until the game is finished.
And the Oscar-winning hit, Argo.
I've never left anyone behind.
Get Stars as an add-on at crave.ca.
At Trillium Health Partners, we're ready to see you, not just as a patient, but as a person who needs innovative care with a human touch, a person with a life, with hopes, and with fears. At Trillium Health Partners, we'll see the whole you, our nurses, our doctors, and our staff. Because when we care for the whole person, our whole community gets stronger. Trillium Health Partners, we see you. Learn more at weseeyou.ca.
In Scarborough, there's this fire behind our eyes.
A passion in our bellies.
It's in the hearts of our neighbors.
The eyes of our nurses.
And the hands of our doctors.
It's what makes Scarborough, Scarborough.
In our hospitals, we do more than anyone thought possible. We do less than anyone could imagine.
But it's time to imagine what we can do with more.
Join Scarborough Health Network and together,
we can turn grit into greatness.
Donate at lovescarborough.ca.
The Out-of-Town Scoreboard brought to you by Maple Toyota. Build your next dream Toyota at Maple Toyota and check out Maple Toyota's pre-owned inventory arriving daily. It's time to Toyota. Visit mapletoyota.com. All of these are after 40 minutes of play. Bruins 4-3 over Vegas. Montreal and the Panthers tied at 2. Canes 3-1 over the Jackets. Islanders 2-1 over Detroit. And the Lightning 2-1 over Buffalo. End of the first, Stars 3-0 over the Jets. Also, after 20 minutes of play, Predators 2-1 over Minnesota. Starting at 9, Avs in Chicago. At 10, Pittsburgh and Seattle. Kings in Vancouver. And at 10:30, Ducks in San Jose against the Sharks. In our game, it's 3-1. Leafs over Arizona after 40 minutes of play. I know what you're thinking. Yes, Guy, you are correct. The third period is next. This is Molson Canadian Leafs Hockey on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent!
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and
Hey, Sam Greenwood. I generate everything right here.
He's busy.
What, Tom? Nice. Good stuff, man. Thank you. Oh, I'm yelling at everybody. Sorry. Real life, I'm the guy. TSI mic right here. Cheers. Back to hockey. Go Leafs, go. Thanks for being here.
NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
When the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Cooley's in the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
Maple Leafs 3, Arizona Coyotes 1 after 40 minutes of play. And the Leafs out shooting Arizona 22-19 after 40 minutes of play as well. Nyes, Bertuzzi, I'm not finished. Nyes, Bertuzzi, and Matthews, the scorers for the Leafs, and Kerfoot for Arizona. Now you can go.
Can I finish you now?
I'd rather you finish me later. I'd like to get the game in first.
Well, I'd be doing a lot of people a lot of favors if I took both of us out at once. But you hope, there was a surge by Arizona after the Kerfoot goal, the shorthanded goal. Came up with 2 or 3 more quality scoring chances that Joseph Wall had to be sharp on. I believe the Kerfoot goal was just the second shot on goal for Arizona in the period. And they ended up with 10. The Leafs out shooting the Coyotes 14-10 in the second.
Your assessment of Joseph Wall?
Looks solid. And it's like we said, it's not an easy game simply because you look at the standings and you say, okay, you should win this one. And we say that about the Leafs playing a lot of teams that are in the bottom part of the standings and they don't get those results. But you think it's one of those that when the game's over, not usually do you look at this, say, it was our goaltender that won it for us. We wouldn't have beaten Anaheim or Arizona or Chicago without great goaltending. But usually if you lose to those teams and you're a playoff team, goaltending is a part of it. So it's a different kind of pressure as opposed to, say, playing the New York Rangers who are here Saturday or the Boston Bruins.
Well, we're underway. Third period. Leafs to the right, Arizona to the left. Bukestad carries down into the Leaf zone. Tries to jam it out in front, and Wall went right with him. And was able to get a glove on top of it. As Bukestad was able to cut right in from the edge of the face-off dot on the left wing side.
Well, he had a little bit of speed and got a step on T.J. Brody and just took it right to the net. But again, kind of a scrambly play. So for Joseph Wall, and it looks like the puck was tipped right before. It was delivered towards the Leaf net, but Bukes had a pretty good power move coming off the left wing.
Draw to the right of Wall, scrummed, poked back to the point, worked to the near side. Chance for Dumba to send it to the net, but it was blocked. And the puck on the near boards. Marner is back playing in the forward line. Bouncing puck comes back to the point. Dumba a shot. That's deflected wide. Nyes with skating room and bringing it out at center. He's going to flip it in over the line and go in there after it. Pulls up. Still has it. Sends it back to the blue line, but it's going to come out into neutral ice. And McCabe will have to regroup it as the Leafs are changing. Woo, dangerous pass there by Morgan Riley. Right at the Leaf bench with all kinds of skates over there. And ends up being an icing, and that's the good news.
Yes. We're kind of preaching the same thing we said after the first period. The Leafs had a 1-0 lead after the first. You felt that they were kind of teetering on either blowing this game wide open or allowing Arizona back in it, and that's exactly how you feel right now, despite having a 3-1 lead.
Period brought to you by Molson, whether it's Canadian Ultra, Export, or XL, there's a Molson with your name on it. As the puck is down in the Toronto zone, far side for Michelli trying to get it ahead, and the Leafs will launch it high down into the Arizona end, but it's quickly sent back out into neutral ice. Bertuzzi Getting it ahead. Nylander's in over the line. A little stutter step. Drop for Domi. Looking for a man in front. He goes around back of the net. Now coming out in front of the goal. Tried to get a shot away. It was blocked. He was able to block a clearing attempt. And then it is launched high to center ice and down into the Toronto zone. Morgan Riley on the left wing will return it right back down into Arizona territory. McMahon back of the goal. Couldn't find Robertson. And it's out at center ice, is intercepted, and now here's McMahon wheeling in on the right side. Trying to pull up, but had to roll off his stick. Arizona with the puck in their own end. Jack McBain, a pass up the middle. Tavares got a piece of that. Cleared to the line and in though. Drop pass comes into the slot. Shot taken by McBain, deflects wide into the far corner. McBain with it again, playing it around back of the net. And it'll be grabbed off there by Benoit, who outlets up front, and out comes Tavares. Up on the right side, drop pass then by Robertson. Didn't connect with Tavares quite well. The puck is turned over, and out come the Coyotes just to flip it into the Toronto zone. Leafs get it back at center, and it's back into Arizona territory. Coyotes regrouping. Played off a skate to center. Nice play made there by Holmberg to break it up. Fourth line out for Toronto. And it is into the corner for McCabe, who finds Reeves. Reeves turns it back to McCabe. He was trying to get to the bench. Pass was broken up. Now he won't be able to get to the bench because the Coyotes have it in over the line. Into the slot and a shot. That stopped the rebound. In front of the net was knocked to the line but not out. Near side now for Stecker. Stecker to his defense partner on the left wing side. Dropping it back for Michelli. Closing to Stecker. A shot. Off the crossbar and out and down into center ice territory. Coyotes coming very close there to getting right back into this one. Played in along the boards. David Camp one hands it out. Near side for Marner. Marner circles back into his own zone to wait for his line mates to come over the boards. And now it's brought by William Lagesson to center, but he had it stripped away. And now here are the Coyotes sending it back in. And Marner, but high, wrapped it right back out into the center ice area. Played to the Toronto blue line. Nyes intercepts there. Played off the boards. Marner taken to the wall. Puck then sent into the Toronto bench area. And a whistle will stop play with 15:54 to go in the third. Leafs leading 3-1.
And Arizona is firmly interested in this game right now, aren't they? A number of great opportunities. Joseph Wall was fortunate that at the last good attempt by the Coyotes, and I think that was Troy Stetcher that jumped down into the right wing circle and snapped it off the crossbar over the left shoulder of Joseph Wall. Leafs get into trouble in their own end when they become very passive. And it looks like we've got 5 guys trying to kill off the power play for the opposition. They get very passive, and that ended up costing them, or almost costing them, ring off the crossbar.
Riley unable to get it out. The puck comes down low, and a shot went wide of the Leaf goal, and Karam's to the right point. Blocked there, and it is Domi getting it out with one man back. Nylander in over the line with a couple of moves, and now circles back towards the blue line, still with it. Top of the circle with a pass in, and that was deflected just wide as Bertuzzi got knocked down. Now back come the Coyotes. In across the line for Michelli. Over on the left wing side, Bukestad shot off the backboards and wide. Into the corner again. Michelli trying to get it off on the wing. Another shot goes high and wide of the Leaf goal. Leafs trying to play it out, finally get it ahead. And Tyler Bertuzzi comes to center. Bertuzzi backhands a bouncing shot in wide of the net and heads to the bench. Carsoni in across the line. Long shot well wide of the goal. Back to the point near side. Kept in by Arizona around back of the net. Carsoni trying to get it in front. Had it taken away then by Benoit. Benoit battles for it. Knocks it back in along the boards. That's drawn a crowd with Tavares helping out. Up against the wall. It's pinned there. Tavares trying to dig it free from Jack McBain, and when it does come free, the Leafs are able to alley-oop it through center, bouncing it down towards the net. And with Robertson giving chase, goaltender Connor Ingram is going to smother to stop play and bring a face-off in the Arizona end of the rink with 14:21 to go in the third.
And in the Department of Useless Information.
Oh, we're very good at that.
Well, Stan helps us out a lot, too.
We know that.
So Stan gives us this stat before the game. Austin Matthews has at least 3 career assists against every team in the National Hockey League except one.
This one.
Attaboy.
Isn't that? Hey, I'm good.
7 goals, 1 assist in 13 games career against Arizona. We'll make that now 8 goals and 1 assist lifetime for Austin Matthews.
You updated that masterfully.
Yeah, I really should have written it down first.
Puck at the side down back of the Arizona goal.
The thrill of live radio.
Oh, yes. Pass intercepted. Pontus Holmberg lost an edge and fell. Brought on now by Gunther. In across the line. Marner got it away from him. Nice play. Now circles in the corner but lost the puck. Centering pass comes wide to the near side. Coyotes at the point with a shot. That was blocked. And it is Reeves playing it off the open wing to get it out into center ice territory. The Leafs will change. Camp to the bench. Bertuzzi out with Domi. Out with Matthews and Nyes on this occasion. Puck down along the boards, so I'm thinking we're going to see Marner probably playing some defense here in the next little while as Bertuzzi can't get it out. Puck now pushed ahead and Matthews is away. Matthews to the line and in with a drop pass to Bertuzzi, cutting for the net. A drop pass then by Riley, and his shot was blocked. It's fed around the boards to the near side. McBain trying to play it out and had it knocked back in again by Benoit, and the teams are changing. Both teams getting a change in with 12:46 to play in the third. Leafs up by a pair. Played down into the Toronto zone. McCabe chases his man. Shot blocked. The rebound in front of the net is cleared into the near corner. Played along the boards by the Maple Leafs, but they don't get it out. Another shot deflects to the far corner. Good play over there by Benoit to free it up, and Nylander will give it back to him. One of the things that I think that I've noticed a lot is Simon Benoit's skating ability. He's a lot faster than a lot of people think.
Well, we've seen him jump up into the rush quite often in this game too, haven't we?
Now here are the Coyotes breaking out. Kesselring up on the right side. Got it over the line. Nice play made by Brody to break up the rush. And Domi sends a long lead pass looking for Robertson that was just out of his reach. Coyotes coming back up at center with an errant pass. Gobbled up and played back into their own zone. Pontus Holmberg was spun around. Marner, who's playing defense and officiating the game, had a word for one of the referees that, hey, Newt, you missed that one. That was comical.
18,000 people seem to be on Marner's side.
Pass in over the line, and Tavares gets back to secure it and plays it out at center ice again. Played to the line, back out into neutral ice once more by the Leafs. And Dumba will try to get it into the zone, only to have it broken up there by TJ Brody. Brody up against the boards. Puck comes free. Knocked and volleyballed ahead. And Robertson just gets it airmailed down into Coyote territory. 53 seconds away from the midpoint of the third. Leafs 3, Carolina 1. Dumba to the line and offside, says the linesman. That was funny. Marner standing right beside the official said, "Pass me your whistle. I think I can make a call here."
Well, when's the last time somebody's been suspended for... Oh, never mind.
Never mind.
Yeah.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The NFL's top draft prospects are ready to show what they've got at the 2024 NFL Scouting Combine.
Deep down the middle of the field, Marvin Harrison's going to take it to the house.
Tune in for exclusive interviews with GMs, head coaches, and the top prospects as they prepare for the NFL Draft.
You put the tape on, they're good football players, so sometimes it helps. You kind of know what you're getting.
Coverage continues all week on SiriusXM NFL Radio Channel 88 in the car and on the all-new SiriusXM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had, the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91. And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the SiriusXM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the SiriusXM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Nyes, Bertuzzi, and Matthews built a 3-0 Toronto lead. Former Leaf Alex Kerfoot with a shorthanded goal midway through the second, and that's where we stand. A 3-1 Toronto advantage. Leafs get it to the line, but not in deep. Lageson's backhand springs it free. Reeves from an angle, a weak shot that was partially deflected. Then a centering pass almost banked in off one of the Coyote defenders. Played back down towards the net, scooped aside then by Ingram. Played out at center ice, brought in over the line, drop pass into the slot area, onto the left wing side, back to the slot, and a shot, hit the goalpost, scores! Logan Cooley let it go off the left wing. It hit the goalpost, and I'm not so sure it didn't carry him in off Joseph Wall and into the net.
I think the first shot goes off David Kemp. Changes directions, goes off the post to the right of Wall, and then bounces out front before somebody swipes it in. I think you're right. I think it's Logan Cooley. They just swept it from the goal line in behind Joseph Wall, and everything we talked about late in the second period after the Kerfoot shorthanded goal has come true with the Arizona Coyotes with 10:07 to go here now in the third period. Are involved in this game. It's a one-goal Toronto lead at 3-2.
Ninth of the season for Cooley, and Arizona back to the attack. Kerfoot working down the right wing board centers. That went off a stick and into the corner it goes. Brody was fortunate there not to get a tripping penalty. Round back of the net, Brody with it again. Into the corner on the far side. That's drawn a crowd. It is swept around the boards. It's going to come back to the point. Kept in there by Dumba. Dumba into the slot area, closing with a shot. That was stopped by Wall. Dumba back of the net to the far side. Now into the slot and a shot. That was knocked down. Leafs are hemmed in their own end and not getting it out of the zone. Kept alive by Matt Dumba. He'll play down into the corner. Another shot from an angle goes well wide. Dumba at the right point. Sends it back. Dropping in is Schmaltz. His shot went wide. Rebound far side, just kept in by Kesselring. Kesselring into the near corner. Around back of the net. Leafs might want to use a timeout here when they do get a stoppage of play, because I don't think Coach is going to be very happy with things. Here's Nyes getting it down into the offensive zone. Cut off there by Robertson. Robertson couldn't center. Neither could Tavares. Off the boards, Bukestad. And out come the Arizona Coyotes with 8:35 to play in the third. Broken up, and the Leafs flip it back in again. Robertson in pursuit. Back of the net goes McMahon. Poke to the line. Tavares got there to keep it in. Robertson in the far corner centers. Comes back instead to Benoit. Benoit's going to circle the net with it. Benoit to the far corner, still with it, into the slot. Tavares got a shot away. That was wide. The rebound, chipping it out in front was Robertson, but it was blocked there by goaltender Ingram. Leafs finally get a little pushback here and bring it in over the line with Domi. Domi gets around one, trying to get into the corner on the forecheck. Still with it up against the boards. Dug out then by the Coyotes, and then a shot is into the goal crease area, but taken to safety by Troy Stecher. Bertuzzi is going to be ruled offside. That was 7:40 to play here in the third period. The Leafs will get a TV timeout to talk things over about maybe upping the intensity level, although the last two shifts showed some urgency. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
There's lots of reasons to get breakfast delivered with Skip. Like you accidentally set your alarm in your calculator app. You stayed up too late watching one more episode. Your blueberry muffin is smushed at the bottom of your backpack.
Muffin.
Your kid only wants to wear their bathing suit to preschool. Ta-da! Your roommate ate everything remotely related to breakfast.
What?
And who puts back an empty milk carton anyway? Kyle! And that's why Skip delivers breakfast. You're welcome.
Did somebody say Skip?
Leafs 3, Coyotes 2. 7:40 to play, third period.
You're right. The Leafs have got to ratchet up the intensity here in the third period as Arizona now out shooting Toronto 26-24. And the Coyotes had a grand total of 10 shots midway through the second period.
Played down into the Coyote zone. Puck around back of the net. And it'll be lugged out into the center ice area by Valmaki, gun on the right side. Played down into the corner by O'Brien. The puck comes back up on the wing to the point. One-timer is deflected wide of the Leaf goal and into the near corner. Played along the wall, but cut off there nicely by Stecher. His shot deflects to the far boards. Chopped around back of the net again for O'Brien. Played back to the point. Stecher with a shot in traffic. Knocked down. Puck is still free. A backhand. Brilliant pad save by Wall. Played to the line, but not out. Still bouncing around in the Leaf zone, and Reeves gets it over on the left wing side. Played to the line, and the Leafs are going to regroup the puck as it's cleared finally into the Coyote zone, but it's going to turn into an icing instead.
That was the fourth line that was caught out on that last goal as well. And, you know, over the last stretch, where the Leafs have played exceptionally well, which included the 7-game winning streak, the fourth line had been outstanding, not spending a lot of time in their own end. Here, Joseph Wall has to come up with a big save off Carcone with the right pad, or this game would be tied.
Puck in the circle, knocked off Marner's stick, but the Leafs get it to McCabe, who gets it out for Nyes. He battles for it to get it down into Arizona territory. 6.5 minutes to play. Brought out at center ice. Marner chasing in the back check as it goes ahead for Gunther. Gunther to the line, got it in along the boards, cut off there. Matthews to Marner for Nyes, and they'll just get it out into the center ice area. Matthews almost stole that, and he's among the league leaders in takeaways with 61. Matthew Barzal of the Islanders leads in that with 67. Played to the Leaf blue line. Riley, bank pass ahead. Nyes trying to drive, can't get around the defense. Now he's triple teamed into the near corner, waiting for reinforcements that arrive in the form of Robertson. Back to the point. Robertson's pass intercepted, but a hustled play by Simon Benoit. Steals it, but now it comes back into the slot again, and it's knocked away, and the Leafs are going to get it out. Just out. Could have been, I think that's offside. As a long shot goes wide of the Leaf goal. Puck around the boards on the near side with Kerfoot. Kerfoot in the corner, had it knocked off his stick. Tavares gets to it and is able to get it to the line, and Bobby McMahon will play it down into Arizona territory. 5 minutes to play in the third. It's a one-goal game. Cross the line for Krause. He had it knocked away. Long alley-oop pass through center that McMahon couldn't knock down. Now here are the Coyotes bringing it right back in again. Right wing side. They are out shooting the Leafs. 27-24 now. And an icing call coming here against Toronto.
Well, it's amazing what a short-handed goal does, doesn't it? Leafs in full control in the second period. A 3-0 lead. They go on the power play, but the Kerfoot short-handed goal was done right to the legs of the Coyotes, are now within one here with 4:40 to go here in the third period.
Draw to the left in the Toronto zone. Tavares scrums the draw, but it comes back to the point. Stecker to his defense partner, swung around back of the net. Stecker will pinch down, sends it in front of the net, and Tavares is able to get to it, but he can't get it out. He stumbles and falls. Back of the net, Bukestad. Centering pass doesn't work. Leafs need to get it elevated, and they do. Nylander getting it out and down into Arizona territory to allow the remainder of a change. Domi out there along with Nylander and Bertuzzi. A pass off a stick into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley around back of the goal. Banks it ahead at center. Nylander spinning but couldn't get it in deep. And turning with it now is Logan Cooley. Cooley's pass a little ahead of Kesselring. Forced back into his own zone. Puck comes back at center, and the Leafs send it right back, and Nylander turns. Brings it in over the line to Domi on the left wing with the shot, and that is swallowed up by Ingram and held for a face-off with 3:44 left to play here in the third period. Bit of a scrum over on the far side that is going to be settled down, and we'll go to a commercial break. The Leafs 3. The Coyotes 2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Here's what's happening on Sirius XM Sports.
MLB Network Radio getting you set for the Major League Baseball season with the Spring Training Tour. If you missed Thursday's broadcast with the Boston Red Sox or looking ahead to Friday with the Pittsburgh Pirates and Los Angeles Angels, tune in to Channel 89 or listen on the Sirius XM app.
Sirius XM Sports. Wherever you are, your team plays here.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
I'm with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play. Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio. Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it. There's a chance. Rebound, Caulfield shoots and scores.
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
3:44 left to play. And Andre Tournier will be keeping an eye on Connor Ingram as time ticks down here, as the Coyotes get the puck out, only to have the Leafs intercept and shoot it back in. Nyes hustling after it, but Dumba got away from him. Then it's stolen back. Nyes in the slot, can't get a shot. He's going to ring the boards with it for Marner. He let it go back to the blue line, and Brody pumps it right back in again. Back of the net for Nyes. Nyes had it knocked away from him, and the Coyotes are back behind the net with Dumba trying to work his way out. Got it ahead at center. They bring it in on the right side with Bukestad. Bouncing puck rolls to the side of the goal. Nice play by Brody to free it up. And Nyes, with skating room, gets it ahead, and Matthews will play it down into the Arizona end. Coyotes back to retrieve it. Leafs are changing. 2:52 to play. Leafs by a goal. Here's Schmaltz sliding in over the line. Linesman says offside. And so it'll be brought back out into the center ice area.
2:45 to go here in the third period. By the way, Matt Dumba's name has been linked in rumors to the Leafs. And you talk about needing a right-handed shooting defenseman. And you can certainly see he handles the puck exceptionally well, although did turn the puck over coming out of his own zone that led to the Matthews line getting some opportunities here in the third.
Draw scrummed outside the Toronto blue line. Is it ever scrummed? Still now finally poked free, and it's going to be shot into the Toronto zone down the boards on the near side. Benoit able to scoop it out, and it's going to roll ever so slowly down into Arizona territory with 2:22 left to go. Dursey starting out of his own zone. Drops the puck back. Carried now by Schmaltz to center. Goaltender still in the net. Round the boards to the far side. Punched by the Leafs ahead for Nylander. He couldn't get it freed up. There goes the goaltender to the bench. Leafs with the puck. Now he starts back and goes back into the net. And it's cleared down, and an icing call will make that decision a lot easier here for Arizona, as Connor Ingram will now head to the bench. And with 1:56 left to go in the third period, the Arizona Coyotes will go with 6 attackers. At least that seems to be.
Yeah, where the Leafs ended up having Willie Nylander on the ice in place of Ryan Reeves on the fourth line, but Simon Benoit fires it up the left wing boards, and it looks like Arizona's taking a timeout here.
Yep.
But Pontus Holmberg, Joe, it was as if he was surprised that the puck was going to be coming out of the zone, and he missed it, and that's why the Leafs are going to pay for it with a defensive zone faceoff. Again, little things like that that could come back to bite you and be big problems. It's as simple. You've got full possession of the puck in your own end. 2 minutes left and a 1-goal lead, and you ice the puck because you just can't connect on a 40-foot pass.
Ingram has stepped over the boards to take a spot on the bench, so 6 attackers coming on here for the Coyotes.
Leafs have only had 3 shots on goal on Connor Ingram here in the third period. Arizona's only had 8, but they have easily been the more dangerous team since Alex Kerfoot got them on the board with a shorthanded goal late in the second period.
Face off to the left of Joseph Woll, trying to garner his 9th win of the season. Camp will take the face-off for Toronto after the icing. The puck is scrummed. It goes to the near boards, back to the point, then off on the near wing. Back to the point again, and a one-timer in front of the net is stopped by Wall. Far corner for Gunther. Back to the blue line for Dursey. Walks the line, winds, fakes, fed it off on the wing. Another shot, stopped by Wall. There's the scramble in front. Cleared to the far boards. Back it comes to Dursey again. Down low, bouncing puck into the corner. McCabe barges in there after it. So does Camp. The puck is back of the net, swung to the near side. Arizona maintains it. Minute 20 to go. Off the boards, Maccelli. Back to the blue line again for Dursey. To Maccelli. Maccelli holding. Still with it. Maccelli to the far side. Wrist shot blockered away nicely by Wall. Kept alive at the point by Dursey. Sean Dursey near side, a one-timer block. Nylander scores!
There's a little anger in that, wasn't there? Willie Nylander finally picks up the loose puck, takes one look and rips it down the ice, and not even much of a celebration from Nylander, the Leafs. I think they know they've dodged a major bullet here. 58.7 seconds left, but the empty netter should give the Leafs the breathing room they need to secure a victory here.
And a three-point night for Willie Nylander. That is goal number 32 as he leads the league, or the Leafs, in scoring.
Joseph Wall made, what, 3 big stops, Joe?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Connor Ingram on the bench.
Here the Coyotes in over the line. There goes Ingram to the bench again with 50 seconds left. Leafs trying to get the puck free. It's still in the Toronto zone. A centering pass blocked. Rebound far boards. Marner chops at it but won't get it to the line. Out. No, it's kept in. Down into the corner again. Leafs up by a pair. Back to the point and a shot. That was deflected wide. Wall may have gotten a piece. It comes in front. It comes back to the point. Moser into the left wing corner. Kerfoot back to Moser. Moser's shot is deflected wide. Zucker with it on the near boards. Zucker back to Moser. Moser to the left wing side. Faking the shot, going wide. Coming back to Moser. Dozen seconds left. Another shot off a leg wide. Leafs with it again. Trying to get it out. They're going to get it airmailed out at center. Bertuzzi racing. He'll have to hurry. Hit the goal post. And time runs out.
Well, if it was a week ago, you'd be crying for Tyler Bertuzzi hitting the post in the empty net. But when this one is over, all the attention goes back to your own crease for Joseph Wall. It didn't really look like he was going to be a factor in the game because the Leafs were full control of it. Midway through the second, a 3-0 lead, and then the shorthanded goal, and you give the Arizona Coyotes a lot of credit. They come back in the third period, outshoot the Leafs 13-4. They get to within one, but the empty net goal by Willie Nylander puts it away. So as much as there's going to be a lot that you look at and say, boy, this seemed like the Leafs before the 7-game winning streak. You know, teetering with teams that are out of a playoff spot. But the one bright spot I think that you focus on is Joseph Wall. His first game since December the 7th is the main reason, probably the major reason, the Leafs end up defeating the Coyotes in this game as Joseph Wall stops 30 out of 32.
But the streak is over. We have beaten the Coyotes in this building.
Yes. And St. Louis a couple of weeks ago. So
lots of things to look positive about, Mr. Rao. It is amazing, isn't it? Yeah. It is amazing.
You know why you can see where Arizona, the Leafs do get a break in that Clayton Keller, their leading scorer, wasn't in the lineup. I mean, you get into the point where it's a one-goal game. He's one of those guys that could be the difference of that one goal. So the Leafs survive it. I think it's more of relief than it is elation that they end up going into Saturday's game against the New York Rangers on a one-game winning streak.
And that game will be right here. We'll have it for you at 7 o'clock when the New York Rangers are in town to face the Maple Leafs. Frankie Corrado to join Jim Taddy, the post-game show coming up next. Leafs winners 4-2. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on TSN 1050 and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Fuel your fandom when you listen to live sports on the all-new Sirius XM app.
It's deep. It's going. And it is gone. It is bedlam at the bank.
Hear the games you just can't miss.
Caitlin Clark is the NCAA's all-time scoring leader.
And get closer to the teams you love wherever you are.
Connor McDavid wins the game for Edmonton.
The action you crave is just a tap away. Live sports. Live on the all-new Sirius XM app.
You gotta love sports.
Andy Ruff
wins the game for Edmonton.
The action you crave is just a tap away. Live sports. Live on the all-new Sirius XM app.
You gotta love sports.
The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
With Tyler Toffoli of the New Jersey Devils.
Lindy Ruff, is he still the prankster in the room?
Just a quick little funny story. We had the little playoff football pool, and me and Nate Bastion won. Lindy obviously came up to me right away and asked where I was taking him out for dinner. He's been great at it, just with the whole season and being there, talking to all the boys when things aren't going well, and just trying to encourage us to play up to our potential. It's been good. He's awesome.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Coolius.
And we're with John Cooper, head coach of the Lightning. You've been in Tampa 12 years. Do you think you could run the table where you are?
You know, we have something special here. For me personally, as long as the fire still burns and the burn to win and to make this city proud, I will do this as long until they kick me out. And as long as that's happening, if somebody takes me, I'll be there to give them everything I have.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
The Avs got a little Jekyll and Hyde going on this year. And when they're rolling, they look unstoppable, and you think, wow, no one's going to slow down the Avs. And then when it doesn't go well, you go, they're just not deep enough. Nichushkin isn't there right now. We don't know if Landeskog is going to come back. Yes, Colorado's good, Jake, but unless McKinnon's getting 2-3 points every night, they don't have the parts.
Point with Boomer Gordon, 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent.
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand.
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
The NHL trade deadline is coming.
Friday, March 8th. Tune in for all-day coverage.
Beginning at 7 a.m. with NHL Morning Skate.
At 11 a.m., it's Mick Kern and your calls.
At 1 p.m., Boomer Gordon brings you the trades as they happen. Then,
when the bell rings at 3 p.m. Eastern,
Steve Coolius and the Power Play break it all down. The best analysis, insight, and breaking news.
Follow at SiriusXM NHL on X.
And tune into Trade Deadline Day. NHL Network Radio.
NHL Network Radio.
On demand.
On demand with the all-new SiriusXM app.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050 and the Leafs Radio Network. The Leafs live here.
Wrist shot blockered away nicely by Wall. Kept alive at the point by Dursey. Sean Dursey near side, a one-timer block. Nylander scores!
There's a little anger in that, wasn't there? Willie Nylander finally picks up the loose puck, takes one look, and rips it.
Welcome to Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena. Leafs win at 4-2 over the Arizona Coyotes. Leafs win over Arizona here at Scotiabank Arena. It hasn't been said in 22 years, but nonetheless, we grind on. Jim Taddy, Frankie Corrado, and Jimmy Ralph kind enough to hang around it. And Ralphie, I just, I don't want to take away from the win, but for me, the night was Joseph Wall, just to see him and know that this is fixed.
Yeah, and it shouldn't have been, midway through the second period, Arizona only had 10 shots. Midway through the second, the Leafs had a 3-0 lead. You thought, and again, let's not, I believe it was Harry Neal's line all the time that said, don't criticize the wins. So we'll try to keep it to a minimum. But Joseph Wall was forced to be the reason in the third period. I mean, especially when it was 3-2. He still made 2 or 3 outstanding, like above average stops to keep the Leafs up by 1. So I don't know if that was the mindset going in. Let's give Joseph Wall some work, and
not that much.
Let him get back into the win column. But you're right. That's the positive I think you've got to take out of this game as he looked sharp start to finish. And really, it was two different games. First half versus the second half were completely different.
Did you not feel like it was just the right amount of work for him about after two periods, let's say? Like, it was just enough where you could say that, okay, he looks comfortable. It looks like he's healthy. Looks like he's moving well. But he also got enough action where you could say, okay, he got stressed enough. But then the third period, the Leafs get 4 shots. Arizona gets 13. Spend the whole third period in the Leafs zone, and you're like, okay, that's probably a little more than we were looking for. Like, we lost that perfect balance that we had going into the third.
Yeah, and I said to you before we came back out on the out of the commercial break that looked like the Leafs before the 7-game winning streak.
Yeah.
A team that they couldn't quite put away. Teams that were well below them in the standings. But again, you get Austin Matthews on the board again. I think there were things you liked, and let's face it, they were able to take advantage on some giveaways and turnovers from Arizona, especially the first goal that Marner sets up for Matthew Nyes. But
exactly, and you also got to keep in mind, like, no Giordano, right? He only plays 3 minutes. We lose him in the first period, so the Leafs D, you could feel that they were tired, fatigued. Like, there was a little more room.
Yeah.
They weren't as quick to close on players that they were earlier in the game.
And then the combinations get screwed up as well.
Exactly. Yeah. And you could even see, like, if you were watching the bench, like watching Van Ryn kind of scramble to get because they still want a line match, right? You want to make sure, like, regardless if it's the Coyotes or whoever's in here, Cooley's line is coming on. Barrett Hayton's line is coming on. You're still trying to get Riley or Brody or a combination of the two out there. So it was a scramble. And you take a look at the ice times tonight. Simon Benoit played just under 23 minutes. McCabe was 25 minutes. And I actually thought McCabe had struggled early in the game. So he had to play 25 minutes in a game where he was kind of fighting the puck, fighting decision-making a little bit. So you could see that element wearing on as the game went on.
Isn't it amazing? It seems like if the Leafs lose a defenseman, it's in the first 10 minutes. Like, you've got to, because we've seen a few stretches now where Mitch Marner has been forced to drop back and play defense simply because of the fatigue factor. But there were times I thought they controlled the first period nicely. You thought, okay, this is you've got the 1-0 lead. You'll just carry it through. But give Arizona credit as well. I mean, eventually they're going to break through, and they're going to be a problem for some teams. And you remember early in the season with the San Jose Sharks, you kept thinking, oh no, you want to play them after they've gotten their first win.
I know.
Because they were losing the 10-0 games. And then, sure enough, they were, started to beat teams like the Edmonton Oilers. That was the end for Jay Woodcroft losing in San Jose. So it, from a Leaf standpoint, you'd like it to be a little cleaner because they were in full control of it. But as they say, do not. It was you snap the game in Arizona. I think before that, Arizona had won 4 straight against the Leafs. Leafs had won in regulation since against Arizona at home since Matthew Nyes was born. so we got to take some of the positive out of it.
And when you look at the schedule, it's kind of a quirky bit here. So Arizona tonight, Rangers Saturday, Boston on Monday, then on to here against Buffalo, and then on to Boston, and then the trade deadline. So I mean, there are some teams in there that might cause the Leafs problems that are below them. But you're really going to focus on the 2 Boston and the Ranger game, right?
Yeah, and I want to ask you this, especially Frankie, Matt Dumba. Thoughts on him, right-handed shooting defenseman? The name's been sort of thrown around as a possible acquisition.
I think if you're acquiring Matt Dumba for this team, you're acquiring him in the hopes that he could recapture what he was in 2018-2019, where he played 23 minutes a night and he had 50 points. I don't see that player anymore. Like, I think over the last 5 years.
But how much is that the team around him
I guess,
right now?
well, he's okay. So he's been in Minnesota. Like, I didn't think he was particularly good in Minnesota either, like the last few years. And then here, I just think, like, there's a couple times tonight where I'm watching, I'm like, I don't know, that doesn't look like a guy who sees the ice all that well. The game has kind of moved in a different direction for him, and I think he's still kind of stuck in where we were 5 years ago, where you could really use your stick to cross-check guys, and you could impede guys a little bit more, and everything was just going straight up. Now you have to be able to see what's in your periphery, and I don't think he does that well enough. But like there were a number of plays I'm watching him, I'm thinking could have made a play there, and I wouldn't be sold on him. I would think maybe the physicality element to his game would be welcomed here. I think he leaves a little to be desired for me.
And interesting. Just, mostly I think because of the right-handed shot, the fact that, the situation in Arizona where he could be available. He only signed a one-year deal, I believe.
He's a one-year deal. He's at 3.9, and I think, Toronto wanted him initially, but he was asking for term and in the 5s. And then when he realized it wasn't going to be there, he signs in Arizona, and Toronto had made their contingency plan with John Klingberg, and we obviously know how that worked out. I get your point about the right-handed shots. The guy that I kind of like is Savard in Montreal.
David Savard, yeah.
Because been there, done it, was a contributor for Tampa when they won their cup.
And was a deadline pickup as well.
Pickup, exactly. And he was a guy after the deadline, going into the playoffs, he was playing over 20 minutes a night. When it came playoff time, I think they took it back a little bit, but he still plays 20 minutes a night right now. So that would be different than Lyubushkin, Shen, etc., where those guys are probably better to play 15, 16 minutes, where he plays 20.
And now
he does
also, we're going to find out to the extent of the Marchardano injury as well. I mean, that might force things to happen maybe a little more quickly.
Yeah. What do you do now? You lose Gio, and even when Gio's 40, so he takes a hit like that. That's he's not 18 coming back from a hit like that. So it takes a little longer, and hopefully he's okay. That was hard. That was a hard hit to watch.
So, I mean, really, when you're describing what they need, you're talking about somebody to play right side with Morgan Riley.
100%. That's how I see it. I think if you're acquiring a defenseman, and we saw tonight how important that's going to be, because I didn't think Riley and Brody had a particularly strong night in their own zone. There were a number of times where, Brody's trying to feed something through the middle on a backhand, doesn't work. You get away with it a little more against Arizona, but you're not going to get away with it against Florida, Boston, New York, etc. Right? So it doesn't get exposed the way it normally would tonight.
Yeah, turnovers were pretty apparent on both sides, and I mean this really did have all the elements of being a 6-5 game, didn't it? Because both teams were making ill-advised pinches or trying to throw the puck up the middle when it was picked off, holding onto the puck too long.
But and that's the thing, Ralphie, about playing a team like Arizona. If you just hunker down defensively, you'll get your chances. You'll just like the Martin Nye situation, you're going to get them. But I think that's the thing that we kind of talked about, where it's you go into the third period. And when we say it kind of looked like the old Leafs, like a pre-7-game winning streak, it's all right, that was the Leafs that opened the door for a team in that situation. Luckily, the team doesn't break the door down, but another team may have in that situation. They just they don't have the firepower to do that, Arizona.
And that, like we said, they're without their leading scorer.
Yeah,
that could be the difference.
Yeah,
there's the one extra goal they needed. Or the one extra point they needed from somebody. But, I guess going back to what Jimmer said right off the bat, the big positive is Joseph Woll. And, it's been great to see Elias Samsonov sort of climb back closer to what we saw last year. But I don't think there's any question. You're going to need both guys. And personally, I've loved Joseph Woll since he first came into the league. And
I can attest to that. You were on it right away.
Yeah,
you said there's something different about this guy.
Yeah, and a lot of it's composure, it's angles, rebound control. Even when he has an off night, it's not usually because he's overplaying things.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that from a consistency standpoint as well. Although we were talking about this, he gets beat on the shorthanded breakaway goal by Alex Kerfoot. I don't know what the Leafs goalie's save percentage is on breakaways this year, but I don't think it's very good because it's the one I can remember, and I don't know if you count it as a breakaway because it was a 2-on-0. You remember the 1-0 overtime win against Winnipeg?
Yeah.
Elias Samsonov stops at 2-0. So it's almost like better if you say,
I know.
So let two guys go, and we'll shut them down.
I know it's unorthodox, but would you be in favor of keeping 3 goalies around just so you don't lose a guy? You would risk losing Jones maybe? Just say,
well, I think then you get to the point. I know what you're saying. You lose them, and then you suffer another injury.
Yeah.
Then, and that's sort of why, personally, I thought, as Samsonov was coming back, why why not throw Hildeby into one of the games in the West Coast?
Right.
Just to let him get his feet wet and be a little bit ready. I just think practice time, I think it can be a bit of a problem if you've got two goaltenders that one maybe hasn't separated himself from the other as being the number one guy to get. So now you're kind of splitting ice time. You're splitting practice time with three.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's not the most ideal
the practice
situation.
That's a really good point about the practice time. We don't think of that. We just think, hey, starter might play 2 in a row.
Yep.
Then you'll throw one guy in. Then you might throw the other guy in. It's like, how much are the other two guys actually practicing?
Well,
that's why I was a great number 3 guy, because I didn't want to practice. I didn't want to dress, so there was never any.
Just sit over there.
There was never any conflict.
Hey, Jimmer, you mind getting the door tonight? It's a little stuck in this barn.
There's some popcorn in it for you. But in this situation, I think it's pretty clear that Wall and Samsonov are the guys, and clearly Martin Jones is number 3. And if you sort of made that clear, and Martin Jones understood that he probably wasn't going to practice, or he's just there for that reason, that could work, couldn't it?
Well, except if you need him. Now he's not playing, and it's practice time. But
that's not much different than before.
Yeah, but it sort of defeats the purpose. I know he wasn't playing a lot with the Marlies either. I think he'd only 5 starts with the Marlies before the emergency recall. So it will be it'll be interesting. I understand that you want to keep that depth past the trade deadline.
Just don't want another injury or somebody goes south.
I think after that.
Yeah.
Well, you know the reason. Let's say, okay, so if you look at the market, let's say Jake Allen is out there. And Jake Allen's not moving the needle for anyone, but Martin Jones isn't moving the needle for anyone either. So if you're going to give up a 4th round or a 5th round pick for Jake Allen, and you see Marty Jones on the waiver wire, you're like, all right, I'll take that. And I don't have to get rid of, I don't have to part with a pick. That's the only kind of thing I see. But I agree. Like 3 goalies, it's goofy, and it doesn't, it's not conducive to everyone, getting enough reps and all that stuff.
And what's really going to be interesting is, when you look at Samsonov over the last couple of years, he's had his best stretches when he was the clear-cut number 1.
Yeah.
Remember Matt Murray got hurt in the first game in Montreal last year.
Yep.
Samsonov went on the roll. Samsonov struggled when Matt Murray came back. Then Murray gets hurt, and then the same this year with Joseph Wall. Samsonov really struggled and Joseph Wall had some great moments, and now all of a sudden Wall's gone. Samsonov finds his game. Now Wall comes back, and there are just some goalies that are better if you just say, look, you're it.
And you're
good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
And guys don't need the competition within. And coaches always say, it's good to have competition in goal. Not always.
Could be stressful. Could be anxiety-inducing.
That's because guys don't want to, a lot of guys don't want to think, boy, if I have a bad game, I may not play for another 2 weeks.
Well, you know what it is, Ralphie? Like, in this is for players, too, where it's like, I got to play against the other team. I'm focused on that. And then you add the other element of, like, the little battle from within your organization. You're like, man, it's kind of uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And now you start to think a little bit. I don't know. I can reason with it, for sure.
Yeah.
There's probably... With this situation, there's nuance to it. There's not going to be a totally right or wrong answer.
But who's expecting to play 70 games in the backup 12? That just doesn't. I don't understand.
Not anymore.
In this situation,
Alexander Georgiev.
Probably.
But it's a known going into the season that you're going to probably split. It's probably going to be 50-50.
Yeah, and yet it never works out that way, does it? Like even with Samsonov and Murray last year, it was supposed to be the 50-50 split, and because of injuries, it goes the other way, and then eventually somebody establishes himself as the number 1 guy. But it'll be interesting to see where Wall's play. If he progresses every game when he looks like he's ready to take over the number 1, or does Samsonov, welcome the competition at this point? And continue to get better as well. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see who goes Saturday night. I would think for right now it'd probably be Samsonov.
I think so. I think you don't. Just coming off the injury, why force him back into a game? Like, let him kind of have a breather, reset. You don't need to go back into it. Samsonov's been playing well. You probably want to give him the net. I think it's a no-brainer. I think one of the other things that, maybe come playoff time we're going to start talking about, you think the 4th line is good enough to hold its own in a playoff series right now?
I think maybe a combination of it. I mean, I know Noah Gregor's, he's been a healthy scratch. He's had, in the last 20 games, hasn't looked like he did the first 20.
Right.
But I still think there's something there with Noah Gregor. And, even when Vegas went to the Stanley Cup Finals in their inaugural season, Ryan Reeves played 10 games in the playoffs.
Yep.
He was a big personality in the postseason, whether it was it being interviewed with Scott Oak or what we saw on the ice. So I'm certainly not saying that he doesn't have any value once you get into the playoffs. But part of me really wants to see Noah Gregor get going again, because one of the things you noticed early on was the speed, and he's got a pretty decent shot.
Yeah, he does.
And it just kind of disappeared on him for a little while. And of course, if you're an 8 to 10 minute a game guy, it's pretty hard to go and fix your game in one night.
For sure.
And you feel it slowly deteriorate.
And that has its challenges in itself, where if you're going to be a speedy guy who plays like a busier kind of game, and you've sat there for the last 10 minutes, you're like, it happens quick. You got to get going, right?
Yeah.
And your legs are cold.
Now it's the last 2 weeks, right? In and out of the lineup. And I think even the trying to make a comparison to it is, Ryan Reeves, with the injury and being a healthy scratch, I mean, he came back with some jump. Didn't he? He was very noticeable.
Yeah, he's been good.
When he's come up,
the bottom
so
line.
I mean, and I guess the other side of that is when you talk about you need depth scoring and you need other guys contributing. Well, out of a total fluke, Bobby McMahon becomes a guy.
Yep.
When you've got the suspension to Riley, and then Marner and John Tavares couldn't play against the St. Louis Blues at home. McMahon wasn't supposed to dress, and you're saying, wait a minute. What do we hear? It was through the opportunity, and I'm not saying that he had done anything to warrant more ice time before that, so that you blame the coaching staff for it. It's not the case, but it was just one of those things that, again, with Noah Gregor, you might already have a guy. Well, that could make a difference on the fourth line. It's just a matter of hopefully getting him going and getting some confidence before the playoffs start.
And that's always going to be the case going into the trade deadline, where if you could get the solutions from guys that are within, like Tyler Bertuzzi, who's now scoring goals, and then Max Domi, who's played quite well. And if Nick Robertson can give you a little more, like I thought Robertson had some good moments in tonight's game where, tight space, pick up the puck, skate it out of your own zone. He had one really threatening look in the third period. So, like, if these guys are going to give you a little more, now you take a look at that and say, okay, that's improvement from within. Yep. Now I'm not looking at, okay, who's out there? What do I need to spend on it? What's the cap implication?
Well, we were going through, some of the deals that were made for teams that went on to win Stanley Cups. We were going through some of the deals that were made, and even 2017, Pittsburgh gets Ron Hainsey, who at the time had never played a playoff game.
Yeah.
Mark Streit and Frank Corrado.
Who's that?
Well, exactly. That's kind
must be some stiff.
A complete throw-in.
They say some guys are really good for the culture of the room. Yeah. Some guys aren't.
Yeah. How did that go?
I said Frankie right, didn't I?
Yeah. Frankie C. Yeah. Frankie C's on the move. Yeah.
Yeah, the guys that are good for the culture of the room, they actually let them in the room.
Hey, Frankie boy, I was on the dark side with you.
Well, he waited a long time to do that. I mean, look, that's a full 20 minutes before he got you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, technically, when you were texting us the other night, when you were sitting waiting for your flight out of Newark.
Yeah.
That's why I thought I'd use the Frank.
Did you hear about that one, Jimmy?
No.
I texted these guys. I was on the tarmac listening to the game. You had done a great job doing the out-of-town scoreboard. It was one of your best of the season.
Yeah. It was a good out-of-town scoreboard.
It was a good out-of-town scoreboard. I really captured the essence of it all.
Yeah.
And then I texted Ralphie. I said, you guys are doing a great job. And he gave me a shout-out. And
Frank Corrado.
young Frankie Corrado.
Frankie C. Yeah.
And I still think Joe doesn't know who that is.
He was a little shocked by, like, why is this guy telling me this?
I think on that note, Ralphie, thanks a lot.
All right, text me when you get home.
You did that with such craft. He told me at supper time he was going to do it. And as soon as he went down, I go, oh no, Frankie's done. There's nothing we can do.
We got to hit that next gear for the playoffs, boys.
This is the show here. Like, if you put the headset on here, you got to be prepared for it.
That's right.
This is what happens.
And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, Ralphie, he's gonna throw the puck in the corner and somebody's gonna crunch him.
Thanks, boys.
Thank you, Ralphie. 4-2, the Leafs win over Arizona. This is Leafs Game Night live from Scotiabank Arena on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
Breaking story from Alpine News Network. Sandra and Kabir are celebrating 50 years of marriage by turning their boring bedroom into a spicy one. Oh, my. Alpine Credit sent a super strength hero to help with a home renovation loan. New floors, windows, a heart-shaped button that plays this tune. Okay, I think that's quite enough. Own your home? Need a loan? Alpine Credits can help.
Alpine Credits, where homeowners get approved. Just for license 12616.
Diverse stories, captivating originals. Stars has the shows unlike anything else.
He's changing the game.
This February, add Stars to your Crave subscription for new episodes of the crime saga Power Book 3, Raising Kanan.
I win every day.
Plus, all new episodes of the gritty drama Hightown.
You should be ready for what's coming.
Stars also has big movies like the action-packed King of Killers.
Nobody leaves until the game is finished.
And the Oscar-winning hit, Argo.
I've never left anyone behind.
Get Stars as an add-on at crave.ca.
Did you fix that leaky tap?
Uh-huh.
How about that loose doorknob?
Uh-huh.
Right now, we can get a free medium pizza from 2 for $1 Pizza.
Did somebody say free pizza?
See, it's not just the kids that have selective hearing.
Right now, get a free medium one-topping pizza with a minimum $25 purchase before tax and delivery. Limited time offer. Online orders only. Visit 2for1pizza.com and use coupon code FREEM.
2 for 1 pizza. 2 for 1. 2 for 1.
Leafs Game Night. The Leafs win 4-2 over Arizona. Welcome back to Scotiabank Arena. And so we're going to go down and get some sound. Mitch Marner here asked, I guess with some humor, if he's the right-handed defenseman the Leafs need. Here's his answer.
I don't know. I'm just going where I'm getting asked. So, obviously it's a bit of a learning curve back there for me, but it's pretty easy with Tommy out there. He's got great gap, great stick. So for me, it's just trying to find plays and I guess kind of just try not to make mistakes.
Is that something you talk about before the game or in the game? Like, I'm ready, coach?
I don't really say anything. Obviously we've had some unfortunate D-man go down and some injuries that happen, and I don't know. It's like I said, I'm just kind of sitting on the bench and then hear my name get called to go D. So I'm just kind of hop down there and just try to do the best I can.
What's the biggest challenge?
Probably gap control, just trying to figure out, when to try to pinch on guys, try to, be up in the play. And like I said, obviously I'm quite new to it, so don't want to try to give up a 2-on-1 or a breakaway and screw my D partner. So I'm just trying to be smart with the pucks and make plays in our D zone or through the neutral zone.
But you've made the play you made as an ice goal, you made it several times in your career, both in junior and NHL. When do you know that that's a possibility? Because we don't see that too often.
I don't know. I mean, just try to read the play, read the speed that I have, the D-man has, or the back checker, and try to read where Nazi is, obviously. So, kind of just try to take all those into effect. Realize that I could have. It's obviously helps. He's a lefty, so for me, when I go to that backhand, it's quite easy to drop it right to his forehand and hopefully give him a chance to score. And it's worked.
How about Joe Wall tonight, seemingly picking up where he left off?
Yeah, it was great. I mean, saw his highlights when he went down for his little stint there with the Marlies, and he was outstanding there too. So, Joe's always locked in. Obviously, it's been a tough injury for him, but I think he's, for his age, is so strong mentally, and it's amazing to see. So I wasn't surprised by how locked in he was tonight and how good he was.
How do you break down the team's overall performance? You guys go 3-0, but let them back in.
Yeah, I mean, still a lot to clean up. Too many odd-man rushes against. Definitely some big saves from Waller there and some big sauce by our D-man. So we got to make sure we clean that up. Try not to give up as many odd-man rushes throughout the game and try to make it hard to get to our net.
That was 200 wins for Sheldon tonight after he kind of took one for the team in terms of the fine the other day. How do you feel about the job he's done here?
Yeah, great. Obviously, we got a lot of trust in him. He's done a lot of great things with this team, and we keep building to try to just keep getting better and better.
What did the Reeves fight do to the bench?
Yeah, a lot. I mean, he's a guy that plays a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and you get it every night. So, you saw the reaction from the crowd, our bench. It's pretty jolting. So it was cool to see, and it's always fun to watch 75 kind of throw fist.
Oh, you know what that is, Jimmy? You know what that sound is right there?
I'm afraid so.
That's the insider desk, and it's ringing right now. You know what we got?
We got something.
Our very own Pierre LeBrun tweeting out that Ilya Lyubushkin has been pulled from the Anaheim Ducks lineup tonight as Anaheim is involved in trade talks, and he's hearing the Maple Leafs, one of those teams, in talks with the Ducks. What do you think?
Like it.
You like
in
him?
fact, I love it because it's a fit. He knows where he's going to fit in.
Yeah.
He's been in the room before. I think that when you're adding that big piece, it has to sort of be a natural fit, and sometimes it's not.
I would say he's not the big piece as far as he wasn't Tanev. He's not Hanifin, but it's familiar. You know it has worked here, especially when he played with Morgan Riley in the past, and now with Mark Giordano going out due to injury in this game, which might be a head, might be some whiplash. We don't know how long he's going to be out.
Hard.
He went into the boards hard. They need a defenseman, so this would be quick work by Brad Treliving and company if they were able to pull this off, minutes after playing a game where a defenseman got hurt. It's a good fit. It is. It's a right-handed shot. He moves the puck fine. He's physical. He can play lower in the zone. He's, he can end a cycle, and we know what it looks like. So it's not like someone's coming in here who now has to go through this whole new adjustment period and, how's it going to work with the coach? How's it going to work with the players on the team? He knows it. It's familiar, and he's a UFA, and the cap hit is very easily digestible at $2.75 million.
And probably the cost isn't exorbitant. So, based on Gio going out tonight, we don't know the extent of that, and we hope he's okay. And the fact that the market is starting to people are starting to get out of the market because they're moved around. It's time to act.
Yes.
You're not going to sit here for a week and wonder.
No, because, listen, one domino drops, and we know what the market is. We know what the asking price is. Now it's time to make moves. And something like what happened tonight with Gio going out only accelerates the fact that you need to make a move, something they needed to do anyway. So, if they were to bring in Lyubushkin, it makes sense. It checks a lot of the boxes. For me, it would leave a little to be desired as far as the upside.
I know what you're saying.
It's not a super high ceiling, but at least you're comfortable with what the floor is. And I think everyone like we've always talked about this. If a player doesn't have an identity crisis, you can look at that player, slot him in, and know what you're going to get. And for better or for worse, that's what you're getting, and you work around that. It's like, for years, people wanted Nylander to be more physical. Well, it just wasn't going to happen. So what do? Surround him with players that are a little more physical.
That's right.
You're just not going to get it from the guy. So for Ilya Lyubushkin, he's not going to be the fastest, not going to be the smoothest at moving the puck, but he'll be pretty physical. He'll be pretty hard to play against. He'll block shots. He'll help on the penalty kill, which is something they desperately need help, especially, on the back end. So it does check a lot of the boxes if they were able to make it happen.
Sometime in the next 14 hours or so, we're going to know the answer to this. But let's just play sort of a fantasy routine here. If, in fact, this is going to happen and they bring in Lyubushkin, where do you play him?
Oh, well, you would have to think, if you're bringing him in as a right-handed shot, he's playing with Morgan Riley. And I know it's not Tanev playing with Morgan Riley, but it's a right-handed shot.
Last year it was Shen.
Well, it was Shen last year. They played pretty well together.
Yeah.
It was Lyubushkin the year before out of necessity. They didn't want to have to do it, but they did it, and they played pretty well together. And so at some point, Liljegren will come back. If you were to add Lyubushkin into the lineup, now you got two good right-handed shots. You can move Brody back to the left side, which, we saw tonight. Riley Brody, a little bit of a struggle, wasn't exactly comfortable for either of those guys reunited again. So I think if this move were to happen, it would be obviously timely work, but it would be purposeful work.
Yeah, and so Riley Lyubushkin, and then take me down.
Okay, I would be going Riley Lyubushkin. I would be probably keeping Benoit and McCabe together, and I'd be going Brody and Liljegren. When he's back. Did I miss someone? Who did I miss? Well, Lagesson.
Yeah.
But Lagesson is not an everyday guy, but I guess for the time being, you would have Lagesson playing the right side with TJ Brody.
Yeah, and Timmins at some point comes back too.
Timmins is another forgotten name. The thing with Timmins now is he hasn't played in so long.
Yeah.
And whereas I just said with Lyubushkin, you know what you're getting, I feel like with Timmins, You don't know what you're getting.
Well,
and you don't know what you're getting even when he's healthy. And he's played a lot because he was prone to, as much as he could make these really nice outlet passes, he was prone to, like, bigger mistakes. And I think Lyubushkin's not that type of player that he's going to expose himself to the bigger blunders with the puck.
So you got Lagesson, Timmins, Gio for depth.
Yeah, and
Gio's on a rotation.
Well, the reason why we don't even mention Gio is because he's hurt and he's probably going to end up missing some time. We haven't heard from Sheldon Keefe yet, but I would imagine that's some of the messaging coming out of what he's saying. But no doubt the need for a defenseman is glaring even more after this game. And that's, you take a look at who your options are of guys that are, like, readily available. It's like Lyubushkin, Sean Walker, Nick Seeler, and Seeler's a left-handed shot. Like, you also have to think about what's your asking price. Like, last year they got Luke Schenn essentially for a third-round pick. So what do you get Lyubushkin for this year? A fourth-round pick? Third-round pick? Like, Leafs can make that happen, right?
Yeah. Well, they've got the parts to make that happen, regardless of what the price is. I just think that prompt action is something that has to happen here. You're not going to wait around until noon next Friday as the deadline approaches and start trying to get something together. You need something in place now.
Well, and yes, but the other thing is, there's teams that are winning games. Like you still are in a fight. You're at 76 points, and Detroit's at 72. Tampa's at 70. Like, it's there's some separation between the other playoff teams, but maybe it is beneficial for the Leafs actually to go through the Metro. But just for optics and aesthetics, it is nice to just keep winning games and try and climb the ladder as much as you can.
Yeah, well, the time is now, right? And that's a pretty solid lead. So he's been pulled out of the lineup, which means trade is imminent.
Yeah, that would lead me to believe that something is actually going to happen if you get pulled out of the lineup in a game. And now, that kind of tells us that we're on, what was the term that we were using last year? A player was healthy scratched for trade-related purposes. Remember that? That was like Jacob Chychrun went through that for weeks. Yeah. And then as we got closer to the deadline, there were a few players, a couple games before, so-and-so's been healthy scratched for trade-related purposes. So there you go. He's pulled out of a game for potential trade-related purposes.
So the Leafs have the Islanders' third-round pick and their own fourth. So somewhere in there is probably the price.
Well, that's what I would imagine. Yeah, like you're not giving up a live body. Like, you're not giving up a prospect that you're trying to develop for a rental of that caliber. And that's still not disparaging to Lyubushkin, who's a good player.
No, but still somebody's got to go because your salary or your roster limit.
Well, someone would have to go down.
Yeah.
And then that makes the three goalies thing a little more complicated, right? Because now you probably, you're going to have excess fat there as far as keeping three goalies and maybe not playing all three of them. And then actually, who knows about IR and LTIR. Like,
that's true.
I imagine there's
always a way to make that happen.
Yeah, there's many ways around. Especially when guys are hurt, you can find ways to make things happen.
So he's at $275 per year, and I just want to go back to the Leafs because people worry about these things. The deadline cap space for the Leafs is projected to be 2.1. Now, his 2.75 isn't 2.75 because it's pretty well, like, there's only a third of it left, less than a third.
Right.
But they have some room to do that.
Yeah.
Among other things.
Listen, this team is very used to flying right up to the cap.
Yeah, cup of coffee away.
Exactly. Yeah, four pennies away. So they have the ability, and this is not new territory for them. So it'll be interesting to see, though, if this trade happens tonight or tomorrow and what goes back the other way. But no doubt it was a pressing need coming into tonight's game, and after losing Giordano to injury, it's even more of a pressing need.
Okay, so let's return to the game. 4-2, the Leafs win over Arizona, and Marner playing some time on the blue line, and Coach Keefe on Marner's adaptability.
It's great. He's his willingness to do it, first of all, and his ability to go out and do it. I thought he gave us a ton in that second period when he went out there, just in terms of his ability to make a pass and keep plays alive and get us going a little bit offensively, to spend more time in the offensive zone. So, yeah, it was good. Obviously, we needed him. We talked about being in a jam on defense here this morning, and even jammed a little harder there. So yeah, it was good that Mitch was able to chip in, and then through the third period, the guys really just kind of held on and found their way through it.
How's Stu?
I don't have. I was just told he was not able to return here tonight. It's a head injury, so don't know the extent of it.
You all picked up where we left off in your mind?
Yeah, he was outstanding. He's a difference in the game here tonight. I mean, obviously we didn't play great here today. Joe was excellent. So yeah, it's great to get him back. Great for him to get through a game like that where the shot volume's not high. This Arizona team doesn't shoot the puck a ton, but when they do shoot it, it's usually a pretty good scoring opportunity. They make a lot of plays, very skilled team. They make you move around the zone, and I thought he looked really strong and athletic. All the things we know him to be, he was that tonight, which is, it's great to see.
When you said mention willingness to play on D, do you ask for volunteers, or do you tap someone on the shoulder, or is there like a list of people that you think might?
No, Mitch has done it before. Is the first thing. I think if you recall, we went through a little bit of an experiment in training camp and preseason a season ago. Just because we thought we could use him and his right shot and his offensive abilities to help us kind of launch our attack and help our ozone play. And we experimented with that a little bit and we kind of got away from it. But it's been a nice reminder of what we've gone through here. Obviously, he did it previously. I can't remember the last time he did it. It was a similar situation with an injured guy, I believe, and shows what he can do back there. Now it's nice and it's good when the puck's on the offensive side of the red line. I think it's a lot more challenging. You got to defend the rush, and you got to play in D-zone coverage and all these kind of things. And you didn't have to do a lot of that here tonight when we used him there. But yeah, in terms of his willingness, I'm just saying it's, you don't really. I feel like he's the best candidate. He's done it. He's run power plays from the top throughout basically his whole life. Like he's comfortable being that last guy back and having the puck and being the guy breaking the puck out, and that's a special skill. Not a lot of forwards have that. You can have some of the most skilled players in the world, but being the last guy back is a different animal. That's a special skill and ability that the defensemen develop over time to be able to be calm in those situations. And Mitch has that, so that's why you go with that in his defensive acumen, his ability to defend. Yeah, he's a natural fit, and I say willingness because even though he has all those things, if he doesn't embrace it, like it's not going to go well. So. I'm thrilled that he went and did the job.
All right, Jimmy, I did a little digging here.
Oh.
When the Leafs acquired Ilya Lyubushkin the first time around, do you remember what the return was?
Oh, boy. No.
That's okay. It's not a quiz, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
It was Nick Ritchie and a conditional pick.
Oh, right.
Then Lyubushkin signs a 2-year deal, $2.75 million per year with the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah.
This year, he got traded from Buffalo to Anaheim. Do you know how much Anaheim paid for him?
What's the answer, guy?
A 4th-round pick.
Oh.
So he was traded earlier this year for a 4th-round pick. Would you not just think it's a 4th-round pick to acquire the guy? And there you go.
It depends on the dealer,
I guess it's a tough negotiator. You might have to up it.
I might say, well, if I get a 3rd for him, then I come out way ahead.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
I guess
I got a couple other teams in the other line. I got to go right now. That's what I would do.
Well, I guess, hey, it's trade deadline time.
Yeah.
The juice is running. So
yeah, absolutely.
We're going to need a 3rd in order to conduct business.
It looks a little light.
It's a little light.
Looks a little light.
That's like when you were in your global days and you got the per diem envelope and you looked at the guy, you shook it, and you said,
it's a little light.
It's a little light, guys. I'm going to need a couple more here.
Yeah, plus, the American breakfast is a little more expensive than the Canadian breakfast.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, New York City, when you're at MSG, New York City breakfast.
New York City breakfast, are you kidding? And that's the thing. When I was on the Leaf tour, and I used to have the same breakfast in every city, and the price would go, like in Canada, flatline, and then you go across the border, and it's
Yeah.
Way up.
Yeah, the New York, the Tatty New York per diem was 30% more.
The New York breakfast was $25. In Canada, we're talking $8.50.
Yeah. So the Lyubushkin tax may go from a fourth round to a third round.
Yeah, I mean...
And also, Chris Johnston, our TSN insider, tweeting out that the Leafs are looking for teams to retain salary as third parties.
Oh, so there's a draft pick right there.
They are busy.
That's a fourth round right there.
Well, for sure.
Yeah.
They're busy. They're cooking. They're working the phones, and they're trying to make things happen. We got to go to break, don't we?
Yes, we do. Otherwise, we're going to get the out-of-town scoreboard in a big mess. This is Leafs Game Night on TSN 1050, the iHeartRadio app, and the Leafs Radio Network.
It's fantasy baseball season, and Fantasy Sports Radio is helping you draft a winning team.
Gone for Ronald Acuna.
Labor, League of Alternative Baseball Realities, auction-style drafts. Tonight at 7 Eastern, the top experts in the fantasy industry are drafting against each other.
I'm curious where you come in on Ellie De La Cruz.
Upside is top 5. Jim Bowden, Jeff Erickson, and Ray Flowers bring you pick-by-pick analysis, player projections, and more. Labor, Fantasy Sports Radio, Channel 87, and on the all-new Sirius XM app.
From in the crease to in the locker room.
Mr. Rick Tocchet, if you're taking a mix of coaches you had the best of, what is that mix for Rick Tocchet?
Scotty Bowman behind the bench, tactician. Mike Keenan, a lot of stuff that coaches do now, he did. Jim Schoenfeld, the father figure. And Mike Sullivan. I still talk to guys like Craig Berube, Travis Green. So, there's a mixture, and then you got to find your own niche, right?
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On.
Feel the passion of Major League Soccer all season long on Sirius XM FC.
Stupendously magnificent.
Every week, hear all the top matches, including every Inter-Miami game.
Messi, up, overhand!
And get analysis and insight from our team of experts like former MVP Tony Meola.
He looks so confident. It's starting to look so easy.
It's Major League Soccer's biggest season ever, and you can experience it on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the all-new Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Oh, that's right. The insider desk is ringing again, Jimmy.
Yes, Guy.
You want to know what it's saying?
Guy, of course, Guy.
2 minutes ago, our very own Darren Dreger tweeting out, Leafs, Ducks, and Hurricanes involved in ongoing trade discussions. It's believed if the deal goes through, Carolina will be used as a third-party retention.
Fourth-round pick to Carolina. So now we can piece it together.
Okay.
Fourth-round pick to Carolina. What goes to Anaheim for Lyubushkin?
That's a great question. See,
they have the third-round pick from the Islanders, so maybe that's it.
I'll be completely honest with you. I can break down a play, no problem. I could give you an opinion on something. If we start getting into, intricacies and